back with another UFC breakdown this week for UFC 322. We got JDM and Islam Makhachev, welterweight title. Islam trying to be a two-division champion. JDM trying to do the unthinkable. And then we got the co-main event. Zhang Weili trying to become a two-division champion. Valentina trying to knock her off. And a couple of banger welterweight fights. And, of course, the banger in the lightweight division as well. We don't need to go over that because I'm sure you already know the card is absolutely stacked. We had to bring out the big guns. We got Uncle Weezy joining us tonight in the live stream for every single fight. I mean, that's a treat there in itself. Big fan of you, Weezy, with your YouTube channel and, of course, the Stat Diggers with Brady. And I think you do it on Mondays now, but I always tune into that. One of the funniest shows you'll watch all week. So happy that you could join me tonight, and I appreciate your time. How we doing?
Oh man, I'm doing great because it really is one of the best cards of the year here. I'm really blown away by how they put together so many great fights and so many competitive fights at the same time. Because a lot of times, you get big favorites on these cards, and we've got a lot of fairly lined fights here, and just a lot of compelling matchups. People switching weight classes. Some stylistic matchups, grappler versus wrestler, striker versus grappler, some, young prospects. There's a nice mix of everything on this card. I think the matchmakers did a phenomenal job, and I think everybody that pays for the pay-per-view is going to get their money's worth.
Yeah, and they even threw in a little added banger of a bonus. Mateusz Camilo and Vyacheslav Borchev, little addition that didn't even need to be happening, but I know that Camilo was supposed to fight a couple weeks ago. So that one's got a late addition. They wanted to get him back in there. I actually was talking to his coach, Eric Nixick, and that fight got canceled the day before the weigh-ins, I believe.
Yeah.
And then Nixick flew out there, literally landed, found out that the fight was canceled, and then had to fly back. So he had like 48 hours of airtime in the span of like 50 hours. So it's crazy. But yeah, we'll talk more about that, but I just had to throw that in there because it seems like UFC's going all out on this card. Like they want this to be a massive, massive card leading into one more pay-per-view under the ESPN deal, and then they're going to Paramount. So can't wait for it. I think we should just hop right into it just because we got a lot of fights to talk about, so we don't want to waste any time jibber-jabbering, but I hit these chats before we hop into it. Weezy, what's up, dude? Says T-Swizz in the house. What up, T-Swizz? Benil versus Darush got me in a chokehold. Who y'all got odds should be even. Well, we'll definitely talk about that. But it's probably Benil Darush versus Benoit Saint-Denis, not Benil versus Darush, T-Swizz. I know what you mean. Got a war by murder. All right. I'm a little under the weather tonight, ladies and gentlemen, so bear with me. If I sound stuffy or if I'm coughing a little bit, I'll do my best to try to battle through it. But feeling a little bit better today, just a little bit stuffy. Let's get into the first fight. We were just talking about it a little bit. Vyacheslav Borchev, take it on. Mateusz Camilo. Camilo coming in here off the UFC debut loss to Gabe Green. I was there in attendance. I thought that triangle was locked in. It wasn't. And then he just completely gassed out, gave up his back, and got choked out. So he loses his UFC debut. Like I said, was supposed to fight Abdul Karim El Sawadi in Abu Dhabi 2 weeks ago. I was about to lay the hammer on Camilo there in that spot. A little pissed that it got canceled. Now going in here against Vyacheslav Borchev, I'm a little hesitant because Borchev, he's not a good grappler. He's not the most durable guy, but he has some heart, man. He's got some heart. And he has UFC experience, which I think is pretty valuable. So Borchev right now is the underdog, plus 140, plus 150. Camilo's now up to minus 175. So Camilo's the minus 175 favorite. I'm kind of thinking Camilo gets it done, but considering the gas issues, if he's stuck on the feet with Borchev, I feel like Borchev could start to piece him up. But I think the grappling and the youth is probably just too much to overcome for Borchev here. What do you think, Weezy?
Yeah, well, let me preface everything I'm going to say by admitting that I'm an addict. Hey, Jive, I'm addicted to losing money on Vyacheslav Borchev. Okay, I mean it's really not that even. It's really not even funny because I mean it's like if you bet on him versus Terrence McKinney and he goes out there and gets rinsed in like a minute and a half, that'll hurt your feelings. And if you backed him the fight before that against Tom Nolan, where Nolan really had a pretty good performance there, won the first 2 rounds and then lost the third. You know, I backed him against Jimmy Yontop too, and you know, paid some pretty good juice there, and that fight wound up paying out like really close. So, I mean, I keep backing this guy because I keep finding angles. I trust Vyacheslav's durability. I think people have been saying that he's not durable. I think that's a bad read. I think you could hit this guy in the face with a shovel and he would still keep coming forward. He's been stopped, you know, like the Sadikov fight was great, a phenomenal example of his durability because he got nuked. He got absolutely nuked in that fight, you know, and also he never quit against Chase Hooper, who was beating the fuck out of him. I mean, he's been dropped a couple times, but like it's more of a timing thing instead of like him not being able to take a punch. You look at some of the clean shots he was taking from Tom Nolan, and you know that this guy's got a chin. And Camilo's been finished in all of his losses.
Yeah.
And it didn't just happen in the UFC. It happened on the regional scene against lower level guys as well. When things aren't going this guy's way, he sometimes looks for the door. And that's something that Borchev never, ever does. And, you know, Borchev's got 43% takedown defense, and he's spent 36% of his UFC octagon time being controlled by his opponents. But the takedown defense is getting a little bit better, and it's not like Camilo is Jordan Burroughs out there. So I kind of got a feeling Borchev might be able to keep this one close. And if this thing gets past like the 7.5 minute mark and Camilo lands some clean shots, but Borchev is still there, I worry about his ability to deal with Slava Borchev in the second half of the fight, because that dude never fucks off. He never goes away. He never gives up, and he never stops throwing. So he can break you mentally if you're not the kind of guy who can battle through adversity. So I'm picking Borchev to win in round 3. But usually whenever I pick an underdog, I will immediately bet their money line. But I've lost money so many times on this guy that I haven't pulled the trigger yet, and I don't even know if I will, because like if I lose money on him 3 fights in a row, I'm going to put my goddamn head in the oven. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to wind up playing this or not, but I do think that Slava does have some paths here as an underdog. So I kind of think he's the money line side, but you know, I mean, like this guy just hasn't been performing that great lately, so I'm worried about it.
It's a tough click, man. Like, to put money on Borchev at this point is like you're saying a prayer. Like, not the fact that like he has no way to win, but like you know it's going to be a sweat, man. You know it's going to be a tough fight to watch because he's going to probably have to overcome some adversity. But Borchev, round 3, you threw it out there. I'm going to pull the odds up here. We got Borchev round 3 plus 1,100, plus 1,500, plus 1,509. Not bad, man. I think it could be a nice live betting spot. You know, after round 1,
agreed.
Feel out where Camilo is at, and you know, see if Borchev might, because he's not that old. What is he? 33? Slava?
Yeah, Slava's 33. Mateus is 24. You know, so this Mateus Camilo, you know, he's a favorite here. He's still got a lot to prove.
I know.
You know, he just gave up in the second round against Gabe Green, who hadn't fought in something like 2 years. So, I mean, getting to him as this big of a favorite, I think that's a little risky too. So I don't know, man. Maybe I'll get to the Borchev bet, but God, if somebody's got to check on me if I bet on this guy and he loses.
Yeah, I think it's probably a dog or pass. I mean, maybe if Camilo goes down to like minus 130, I might be able to jump in pre-flop, but at this line, it's just not worth it. So I was excited about Camilo though in that last fight with Al Sawadi. I know Eric Nixick said they were doing a lot of work trying to get him to like battle through adversities, like when he's tired, like making him keep working through stuff in that training camp. So we'll see, how this works out. But also the other factor of like him having to travel to Abu Dhabi within the past week or two, comes back. Maybe he was already cutting weight. A lot of factors that's probably just like, I don't really want to get invested in that fight,
And it's short notice for both guys.
Yeah.
This just got added a week ago. So Slava wasn't preparing for Mateus. Mateus wasn't preparing for Slava. So it throws added variance on this fight as well.
Yeah, and that Camilo sub was, why can't I find it? Oh, there it is. Plus 350, which I honestly think that's not great.
I've seen Bet Rivers has it at plus 500, Camilo sub. And my betting model really likes that because, 2 of 5 losses for Borchev at the UFC level have come by submission. And I kind of feel like if Camilo is fighting smart, he's trying to take this guy down.
Yeah. I mean, I agree.
Yeah.
It's probably just one of those where he has a submission like he did last time, and then Borchev slithers his way out of it, Like, I could not believe how far he lasted or how long he lasted in that McKinney guillotine.
I know. It was like Marab against Ricky Simon, where he was in that guillotine stomping his feet for like a minute and a half. And I'm like, how is he not out yet? This is ridiculous.
His bald head was getting so red. I was like, oh my God, like it's going to pop out.
I know.
Uncle Weezy, shout out to the chat. Shout out to Justin. $4.99 super sticker from Justin K. Shout out to Justin K. Appreciate that, brother. I stop and listen every time a man wearing a Hugh Hefner robe. You gotta. Sponsored by DFS The Numbers. Shout out to my man Brady. Gotta get Brady on the show eventually as well. Hey, a couple of days ago, almost JDM slipped in the snow and busted ass. Do you think this will fuck his performance? What do you mean busted ass? You fell on his ass?
I've never heard that, but I mean, it's possible if he's in New York.
Yeah.
I don't think it's snowing right now in Australia, man. I think it's summer down there or almost.
Yeah. Where did Slava show his takedown defense getting better?
Against Tom Nolan.
Yeah, a little bit.
Against Tom Nolan.
A little bit. I mean, it was a pretty low bar. So I mean, for him to make improvements.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
All right, let's move on. We got Dysinger Susurkaev taking on Eric McConico. McConico gets his first UFC dub against Cody Brundage in a disgusting fight at the Apex his last time out. And Susurkaev puts on an interesting performance against what's his name? Eric Nolan?
Yeah.
Was that it?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, Eric Nolan. Now he's getting another Eric. So they're matching him up with Eric's, which is interesting. Probably going to kill another Eric here. But the problem here, I think, is how is he going to do it? I think he probably knocks him out, but I could see like a club and sub. I think Susurkaev is good. I don't know that he's like some murderous power puncher, but I think he's sharp on the feet. He's flowy, but he can be a little bit cocky. And I got to give him some grace for that Eric Nolan fight because he had just fought on Tuesday that week. So, I mean, he had to cut weight twice, didn't have, any preparation for this opponent. He's basically just like, give me someone and I'll probably go in there and fuck him up. He kind of did. But I think he probably chins McConico. But McConico is honestly, like, I don't know what this guy offers, man. He looks like a Walmart version of Khalil Roundtree, southpaw. Bald, black, muscular, and he's a strong dude, but he doesn't strike like Khalil Roundtree, man. Not even to the nearest extent. So, and he's old and he's got chin problems, man. So, Susurkaev, round 1 or 2, it's probably gonna be juice. And I don't know if I'll play it, but that's kind of the way I see it. What'd you think?
Yeah, this is, I mean, the line is ridiculous on Susurkaev because this guy is cocky. He's got no defense. And like, eventually we're going to get to a point where this guy gets cocky in there and like somebody makes a highlight reel meme out of him, like, doing one of these as a kick whizzes by his face, and then he gets slept with the next shot. I could totally see it coming. This kid's got the confidence of somebody that's never lost, right? And eventually at this level, you're going to run into somebody that takes that confidence away from you and really rips it away from you. But Eric McConico ain't that dude. Like you could play this guy's fight footage at like 3 times and he's still going to look low volume, So, I mean, I figure Susurkaev has got to get the job done here. He's got swag. Like you said, he's flowy in there. He kind of keeps his hands down most of the time. And he's got amazing knees. I love the knees. I love the kicks to the body. He's got power. He could switch stances. He's just he looks the part. And his grappling game is pretty good too. I've seen him in fights stuffing takedowns and getting back to range when he wants to strike. I've seen him getting top position off of his opponent's takedown attempts. I've seen him getting takedowns of his own, like we saw in the Eric Nolan fight in the second round, and he finishes him on the ground. So, I think that the kid has got a lot of upside at only 24 years old, and he's got a lot of swag and a lot of confidence. But, defense has got to be something that he starts thinking a little bit more about. And, but like McConico, I just don't see it from him. So I think it's by Sanger, however he wants to do it, Yeah, if he wants the steakhouse bet and wants to cash a big plus money number, he could win by decision, He can win this fight however he wants to win it. Just remember that, So he might not be the way that you think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I was going to maybe check out the submission, but it's not that great. Plus 550. Open at 700. That would be a little bit more enticing. But I was kind of eyeing up the under 1.5 when it was at minus 160, and now it's just cooked, minus 230. I don't think McConico lasts 7.5 minutes, but at minus 230, like I can't play it. I feel like I missed it there. So yeah, it's probably just a pass. Honestly, we know what's gonna happen. It's chalk. If you give me a decent line on Susurkaev, like same game parlay and the under 1.5, I might play it. Because the problem with McConico is he's not like very aggressive at all. So like, he might
very low volume.
He might just be like running around the cage for the first 5 minutes, and then round 2 hits, and then he's like, oh fuck, I got to do something here, and then he finishes him in round 2. So that's why I don't really like the round 1 there at chalk. It's tough.
And that's exactly what happened in his first fight against Ruzaboyev.
Yeah.
He didn't do shit for the entire first round. And then his corner, he started yelling at him like, hey, man, this is your UFC debut. You got to beat this guy. You got to do something. And he went out there and he tried, and he got knocked out immediately. I mean, I think McConico comes from a football background. Those guys have got a lot of head trauma. And usually when they get to the UFC, they wind up being some of the more chinny athletes in some of these higher weight class divisions. So I think it's going to be by Zhang or by KO, but it's minus 215. So what are you supposed to do with that? Minus 350 inside the distance. It's disgusting.
Yeah. You know what? He'll probably get fucking he'll hit him with a Dumas choke.
Yeah, oh, I love that. Yeah.
The chalk on the Susurkaev KO, hit him with a Dumas choke.
Dude, I know, man. We were calling that the Volante choke after he got choked out from the top by Maurice Green. But after Dumas started tapping before he was even locked in, it's got to be called the Dumas choke now.
Oh, it's amazing. There's no choke there whatsoever. And of course, Dante Johnson KO was what, minus 225, something like that, minus 220. So
yeah, exactly. So that's why we call it the steakhouse bet. When these guys have got these squash matchups like this, they can tell their friends, hey, I'm gonna win it like this. Bet on me to win by decision instead of knockout, and we'll get plus 450 instead of minus 215, and then stakes around me over at the Roots Chris,
Susurkaev at under 1.5 is minus 250. Yeah, no.
Jesus, God, help us.
It's tough. We still call Susurkaev Jimmy. I'm down to call him Jimmy.
I like it. Jimmy's so much better.
The one bet I know I'll regret not making is Wellmaker KO for sure. Well,
still time to make it.
Yeah, you got a few days, man. You got a few days. Don't need to rush into it. Think about it a little bit. But we'll talk about this one. Women's MMA. We got Angela Hill taking off Fatima Kline. Kline, nasty head kick KO from Melissa Martinez her last time out. Angie Hill, little loss to Yasmin Lucindo. And not a bad loss to lose to Yasmin Lucindo. And obviously coming in here, Angie, being 40 years of age, has a lot more MMA experience, a lot more UFC experience, a lot more life experience as a woman. But that experience probably not going to help her, as she is a big underdog in this one, sitting at plus 400. Fatima Kline now up to minus 550. Fatima Kline trains with Erin Blanchfield. Supposedly she is now a full-time fighter, doesn't have to work on the weekends or whatever. So she's got to putting it all into this camp, 100% full-time. Got to see some improvements. She's still very young and very big for the weight class. Seeing her next to Erin Blanchfield, it's like, I feel like Fatima Kline should be the flyweight here instead of the strawweight, but she's big. She has pretty good grappling. She got pretty good striking. So, I think she should be able to get this one done in any fashion against Angela Hill in Angela Hill's current form. My question would be, is she going to grapple with her or not? Because I don't know that Fatima Kline's wrestling is all that good. Could she get a couple takedowns here? Maybe. It kind of seems like when the fight hits the ground, that's when her ground game shines. But I feel like she's just going to go out there and strike with her. Because why wouldn't you? You're not really at risk of getting hit with a big shot from Angela Hill. Yeah. I feel like Fatima Kline's kind of fallen in love with her striking. So that's what gives me a little bit of hesitancy in this matchup for Kline, being at minus 550. If she goes out there and strikes with Angela Hill, maybe she doesn't do as well as she thinks she's going to do. But I think she probably still wins the striking here. What do you think, Weezy?
Yeah, I like Fatima Kline quite a bit. Obviously, she's a phenomenal prospect. You can't teach size. You can't teach height. You can't teach reach. But what you can teach is, being technical at distance striking range. You can teach, black belt level Brazilian jiu-jitsu. And that's what she has. She's mixing everything together pretty well. And I think the last performance against Melissa Martinez, who's a pure striker, was really kind of an eye-opener, because Fatima is known for her grappling. She's known, when you look at her Tapology page, you're going to see a lot more professional grappling bouts than you are professional mixed martial arts bouts. She's clearly comes from a grappling base towards MMA. So it was surprising to see her go out there and not even attempt to grapple at all against Melissa Martinez, and not only win the fight, but find a finish in the third round.
I was shocked that she didn't grapple there. I was like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you striking with her?
Oh, yeah, I know. And I know a lot of people that were on Fatima to win inside the distance, because Melissa really doesn't have much of a ground game.
That was me.
They had to be putting their fucking fist through the wall going into the third, being like, why is she not grappling? Why is she just striking with her? And then she winds up finding the knockout. So this might be a case of what I think is a bad thing, and that's a grappler falling in love with their hands.
Yeah.
I hate it when that happens. I hate when I back somebody that I expect to grapple, and then they're coming off a KO win, so now all of a sudden they think they're a striker, and they're not pushing, the place in the fight where they're going to make their opponent the most uncomfortable. And Fatima didn't do that last time. She went out there and fought to her opponent's strength, and wound up getting the win. But I don't know what to think here. I think this is probably going to be Fatima Kline by decision, and that's juice to the tits at minus 185.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot there, but Angela Hill's never been the best minute winner. She's certainly not like a killer finisher. And she's over 40 years old. And black don't crack, but Father Time is undefeated, and eventually her time's going to come. So, yeah, I think it's Fatima, probably Fatima by decision, but it would be good for her career trajectory and to find ways to back her going forward if she did mix in the grappling in this fight and, tried to seal at least one round, doing what she does better than Angela Hill, and that's grapple.
Yeah, that decision is untouchable, man. You can't touch a minus 185 on a decision. It's like, it seems like it's the most likely outcome. It seems like that should happen, but I can't touch it. And then you look at the other props. Like, do I want to throw a dart on Kline by KO? Kinda, but I don't think she like cracks hard with her fists. You know, is she gonna catch another head kick? Probably not. And the way that she ground and pounded Dudakova just gave up in that fight. You know, she just curled up. You know, she did the Anthony Smith, turtled up, and just took her beating, waiting for the ref to step in. So I mean, I think it's a decision. I think this is just a fight to lay off overall. And do I want to lay the chalk on the over at minus 350? Like, not really, man. Not really. I guess maybe if you are forced to put something in here, I'd probably go with like just Kline money line in a parlay, minus 550. But even then, if she goes out there and just strikes, is she going to look minus 550? I don't, maybe, but I doubt it. I wonder what the minus 3.5 would be. I don't think they have it on fight odds out there yet, but if you get like a decent number on a minus 3.5, like if they give it to you minus 110 or minus 130, maybe I would look that way for Fatima. I don't know about you, Weezy, if you mess with the point spreads, but I hate the plus 3.5s. It's like
I've played them.
It's like a popular thing going around. I think it's the pussiest bet ever. I'm like, dude, it seems like more often than not, if you play a plus 3.5, they're either getting finished, they're losing 30-27, or they're flat out winning the fight. So at that point, what's the point of playing a plus 3.5? You know, if they're going to win the fight outright, you're better off just taking them on the money line at plus odds. You know, the only real way I could see it is if like you're getting plus money on a plus 3.5 and it's favored to go to a decision at a pretty high clip. Then maybe I could see it, but I like the minus 3.5s more than the plus 3.5s, but side tangent there.
Yeah, and I think the parlay piece in this fight is Fatima Kline by decision.
Yeah.
I tend to think that even if she loses 2 of these 3 rounds, she probably still gets the win on the scorecards because she's the A side. She's the young fighter. You know, Angela Hill's 40. She's got 28 UFC fights. So her win bonus is probably 20 times Fatima Kline's win bonus. So I promise you, if this is a close fight, Angie is not getting the nod. It's a financial decision. It's always about money, hey, Jive.
You know what it is? I think I'm just scarred because I bet Lupe Godinez against Angela Hill.
Yeah.
Expecting her to wrestle, and she did nothing. She did no wrestling, and then she loses a decision. So I think that's why I'm scarred. That's why I don't like playing decisions against Angela Hill. But she always gets fucked on the scorecards, like almost always. I think there's maybe one that I can remember. The Katlyn Souza fight was pretty close, but she got the nod. So, I mean, yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah.
Happy belated birthday. I appreciate that, brother. Blessings to you as well. What's worse, hedging or playing the plus 3.5? They're both terrible. They're both terrible. I put out that video about me. Like, would you hedge? Because I have the Jack Della Maddalena title holder at the end of 2025 at plus 2250. And I'm like, I put out a video. I'm like, would you hedge this or just let it ride? Dude, I'm fucking letting it ride, dude. I put $100 on it. What's the worst case? I could lose $100 or I could make 2250. So I'm not fucking hedging that shit. Are you kidding me? I'll let that shit ride.
There you go.
All right, we got Pat Sabatini taking on Chepe Mariscal. Chepe coming in here. Still undefeated in the UFC, and Pat Sabatini coming off a couple of one submission win and a decision victory to Joanderson Brito. Both wins as an underdog. This is a rematch from a while ago where these guys are looking a little bit different. And if you go back and watch that fight, very close fight, split decision, went Chepe's way. So now we have the guy that won the first fight as an underdog here at plus 115, Pat Sabatini minus 135. What do you think about this one, Weezy? I'm going to let you go first.
So yeah, I mean, I think it's a great fight. I think, but what Pat does so well is bring fighters into his fight. He's got phenomenal conditioning, and when grappling is happening, he never gets tired. So the average person the average fighter in this weight class, 145 pounds, will spend, let me look at my stats here. About 61% of their time at distance striking range. So 39% on the fence and on the mat, and 61% at distance striking range. Pat Sabatini only spends 19% of his UFC octagon time at distance striking range. So what that tells me is, that's less than 3 times the average. So he's phenomenal at forcing his pace and his fight on his opponents. And all you have to do is watch the first fight to understand how Pat does that. He's going to shoot every time he gets the chance. And once he's there, he's going to stick on you. And he doesn't really care if you get on top of him, because he can go for submissions, sweeps, and trying to stand back up and strike from his back. But he's really dangerous from top position because he's patient there. He stays there. He scores points there. And if you try to make any mistakes trying to get back to your feet or take any unnecessary risks, this dude can jump on your back and finish you. So I don't see Chepe being able to avoid Pat's fight here. He wasn't able to avoid it the first time that they fought. And you know what? I thought I had heard that Pat won that fight, and then I watched it and I scored it for Pat. And then I didn't even look at the result until the next day. Because, like once the fight's over and I'm done taping it, it's not like I'm waiting to watch the decision, I didn't realize that Chepe won the fight, And I thought maybe Chepe won the first, but I thought Pat did enough to win the second and the third. But it doesn't matter. It was 7 years ago. It was 2018. So obviously both of these fighters are much different versions of themselves now. But Pat still does well now what he did well back then. And I've seen Chepe at this level be sucked into that kind of a fight. So I think this is going to be Pat's fight. I think he's going to control the pace. I think he's going to make Chepe grapple. And I think he's got the better tools to not just win the minutes, but also potentially win the moments in these grappling positions. So I'm going Sabatini by decision. But obviously you always have to worry about Pat's chin.
Yeah.
Mariscal is not a murderous power puncher. He's landed 0 knockdowns in 5 UFC fights. But if he hits Pat hard, Pat just doesn't deal well with taking big shots on the feet. So you have to worry about that. Anytime you bet Sabatini, your money could be done like that. And you have to deal with that up front and make peace with that, because when he makes it look easy, you look like a genius for betting him.
Yeah, I'm going to go opposite here, Weezy. I'm going to go with the Chepe side, because I think it's closer to a 50-50. And I played him at plus 115. I do think if Pat sucks him into that grappling type of fight, I'd still think Chepe could win, because Pat doesn't do any damage with it, really, unless he's got you full mounted and can land some elbows from the top. Then he can do some damage, but Chepe just finds a way to do damage in any scenario that he's in. If you watch, we'll go back and watch that Charrier fight. He was in the weirdest position on the ground, but was still able to land these weird ass hammer punches to him while he had like one arm locked up. Weirdest position I've ever seen a guy land significant ground and pound on the mat. And I think Chepe, it has better cardio. I think he's got way more dog. I think he's way more durable than Pat. Like you said, at any point, like if you touch Pat's chin, it could be donezo. Damon Jackson caught him with that front kick, and it rattled him. Jamal Emmers rattled him and then got his knee shredded up. I just don't see Chepe getting held down for minutes here, because Chepe is just an animal. Like, he's just going to find a way to create a scramble. He's also got great judo. I don't think Pat's wrestling is all that great. Like, he's a great jiu-jitsu player, but I don't think his ability to get it to the ground is all that great. And usually he's got to work for his takedowns. But if you get into the clinch with Chepe, he's going to be throwing you. He's going to be landing shots in the clinch. So I think it's Chepe or pass at the underdog odds, which right now is plus 110. So it moved a little bit. I also don't mind a Chepe KO shot here. But I do like the money line just because I do think if it goes to decision, Chepe could win a damage-based decision. And I'm not really like what this resurgence for Pat. He got KO'd by Diego Lopez at MSG, by the way. And then he was a dog to JSP. JSP's been submitted a few times. And then he was a dog to Joanderson Brito. And Brito just pulled guillotine and couldn't get up off his back the whole fight, which credit to Pat. But, those I think are two matchups that he was undervalued in and overperformed. And now he's a favorite to a guy that has already beaten him and has insane scrambling abilities. He's training at Syndicate now with Merab Dvalishvili, which I like, of course, going up against another grappler. So, yeah, it's Chepe for me. So first fight that we're going opposite. I love that because I hate when we have guests on and we just agree on everything, because that tells me like we got to be missing something. We can't be right on every fight, right? So
yeah,
I like that. One of us will be right. You said Pat decision, correct? You think it'll probably be a decision?
Yeah, I mean Chepe's really tough, and he's going to be really difficult to submit. So I think that a control-based decision. But you're right. I mean, Chepe lands a lot more strikes in control time positions. 4.61 per minute spent in control time positions compared to 1.54 for Pat Sabatini.
Plus 130 on that decision for Pat, looks like. Plus 133. Chepe KO. Maybe look at like a round 1 KO. Might just spark him off the rip. Yeah. It seems like that's when Pat be getting had. Plus 850. Chepe round 1 KO. Might be a nice little sprinkle to add to the arsenal.
Yeah, because the other two knockouts, the Jackson knockout and the Lopez knockout, were both round 1.
Oh, we lost our screen there. Now we
and Jamal Emmers dropped him in round 1. I remember that, and then started playing footsie with Pat. That's a bad move.
Yeah, very bad move. Pat to me just looks fucking fragile, man. He just looks fragile. The way that he takes shots or reacts to shots, I don't like it. Lean towards the more violent fighters at MSG because of crowd. I remember I was at MSG 2 years ago, and the Pereira Prohashka first fight, all the fights on the main card were finishes, which was pretty sick. I hope we could see something like that again this Saturday. Pat is trash. Wheezy, not sure what you're doing, but you still my guy.
I mean, you're not trash when you're 7-2 in the UFC, but admittedly, when Pat loses, it's bad. So like I say, when if you're going to back Pat, you have to make peace up front with the fact that this dude might be sleeping 10 seconds into that fight by a punch that didn't even look that hard. But the upside of betting Pat is that he's elite at controlling his opponents, and he does it for 70% of his UFC octagon time over a 9-fight sample size. And let me tell you something, that's not a number that you see very often. That's like Khamzat Chimaev levels.
Yeah.
Jailton Almeida levels.
It is impressive. His grappling is off the charts.
It's great, but the chin is bad, and I get that.
Yeah. All right, moving on. We got Kyle Daukaus taking on Gerald Meerschaert. Meerschaert coming in as an underdog as usual. Kyle Daukaus, a hefty favorite, now at minus 500 now for Kyle Daukaus in his second stint in the UFC, coming off the KO to Michel Pereira, where that might be a steakhouse bet that you're talking about. That he caught him with that right hand, and not a single soul could have predicted a Kyle Daukaus round 1 KO in that fight, but it happened. And that's a good look, going into his next fight against GM3, who seems to be getting caught in round 1 at a remarkable rate in his UFC career. But I got a lot of love for GM3, so I'm not going to trash on him. Fellow Wisconsin boy, and just a legend of the game, man. What does he have? The most submissions in middleweight history or up there with UFC history. So he's still doing it, but this is a tough matchup, man. It's a tough matchup because even if he does, get into a decent position against Kyle Daukaus is a pretty good grappler on the feet. I think Daukaus is the better striker. Am I going to lay the minus 500? No. Am I going to try to find a prop here that I like? Probably not. I kind of just want to see what Kyle Daukaus does to him. In his second stint, it's like, okay, he knocked out Michel Pereira round 1. What did that really tell us? Not much. So I think this is just a sit back and watch. What do you got, Weezy?
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that the fight doesn't go to decision is only minus 250 here. Because, Gerald finishes 100% of his wins. And if anybody's got any kind of power, they can knock him out. And he's been submitted so many times. It's like people forget that, Gerald Meerschaert gets a ton of submission wins, but he's also been submitted a lot of times. And Kyle Daukaus is a very good grappler. I mean, you wind up in this guy's Darce choke, it's going to be a bad night. So I kind of feel like, minus 250 isn't bad for the fight doesn't go to decision here. Maybe try a fight doesn't start round 3 at an even better price, or even the under 1.5, because I kind of see Gerald selling out for a sub, man. And Gerald's getting to that point, It's like that jaded cop that's 6 months away from retirement, and they get a call about a robbery a block away, and he's just like, you know what, I'm going into the convenience store and grabbing a coffee. It's not my fault I didn't hear this. I am not getting shot, in my last year on the job. And from Meerschaert, I kind of feel like he's going to turn into the Bob Sapp of the UFC, where it's like, I'm going to give you 90 seconds of hell, and if I don't get you out of there, I'm going to look for the damn door, man. Because Gerald's got a lot of, he's got a lot of miles on the engine. I think 57 professional fights at this point. 57 professional fights, 384 minutes of cage time. He's only been to decision 8 times out of 57. So this guy's average fight time is 6.7 minutes over just a gigantic sample size of fights. So I think somebody's going to get served here. But I mean, it's just wild to see Kyle Daukaus's KO prop as more expensive than his sub prop. Because this guy, prior to the Pereira fight, he had one knockout win, and it was in his last fight on the regional scene against some, nobody pretty much. So, I mean, I don't know if we can trust his power or not, but somebody's probably going to get served in this one. And if I don't have an under here, there's no chance I'll be having any other bets.
Yeah, plus 195 is the best for the KO.
I know. That's unbelievable.
Damn. I mean,
Walker's KO had to be plus 1,000 against Pereira.
Yeah, and especially round 1 KO had to be insane. Daukaus round 1 KO is plus 350, plus 480. Yeah, I mean, maybe Daukaus is just fucking Ilya Taporia in there now. Just knock fuckers out. But yeah, I don't mind that under 1.5 plus 440, or even the ends inside the distance in a parlay piece minus 250. It's going to be a long 15 minutes for GM3 to survive in there. And, if Daukaus does gas out, it's not like Daukaus is going to be afraid of the grappling. So he could make a mistake, He could make a mistake down on the ground, and GM3 could pull it out. So not bad looks there. I'd probably go with one of those that you said. But a prop like that, I'm not going on the KO at plus 195. Can't do it.
Yeah.
My boy, the parlay in the chat. Shout out to the parlay. Damon Jackson versus Sabatini reminds me of how much Damon Jackson loves H.I. Yeah.
You were on him there?
No. I think I did bet on Damon in that fight, which was crazy.
So did I actually, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. I was shocked by the result, though.
Yeah, I
wasn't expecting that, but it was a great cash.
I made a video of Damon Jackson getting knocked out every time in his career, which, if you can remember, every time he's been knocked out, it's brutal.
Yeah.
He folds in the worst ways. And Damon Jackson saw it, and then he got really butthurt and started calling me out and like commenting on my like other posts of me, like basically like calling me like a bitch and stuff. So Damon Jackson doesn't like me.
Okay, got it.
Big Marley, what up, bro? What up, boys? We beer fested again soon, Wheezy.
Yeah, we're gonna do that. I think probably the Frigid Digits Beer Fest in Indianapolis is when I'll be catching Big Marley next time. Probably February 2026 is what I'm thinking. They do that annually, and I've met up with Kyle out there before, and we've had a good time.
Sounds like a blast.
Yeah.
Respect to GM3, but GM is done. Got pieced up by Brad Tavares, then curled up in a ball. Yeah, I mean, Ola Shaychek's tough, though.
It's hard, dude.
Surprised to see Hajav was on Islam. LOL, looking at the tape, JDM dominates him on paper. Well, we'll talk about that one later. We will. Let's move on. That was the early prelims. Holy shit. We got 5 fights on the early prelims.
Yeah, it's 14 fight card, man. They're making us work this week.
Stacking it up. All right, we got Malcolm Wellmaker taking on Cody Haddon. Cody Haddon stepping in on relatively short notice for Sirhi City. Wellmaker's been training for this date. Wellmaker, back-to-back round 1 KOs. Cody Haddon won his UFC debut against Dan Argueta by decision. Landed over 140 significant strikes in that fight. And coming into this one, Cody Haddon is the dog. Wellmaker comes in as the minus 144 favorite. Now, seems like there's some money coming in on Cody Haddon, which is kind of makes sense. But at the same time, I think Wellmaker is a special talent with special power. It's going to be tough for me to fade Wellmaker because he could stop the fight at any point in time. But I do think Cody Haddon has some grappling in his bag that could make this one interesting. So I'm interested to hear what you got to say, Wheezy. What do you think?
I like Wellmaker here. I think both of these guys are really good prospects, but the problem for Cody is that, first of all, this guy hasn't fought in 13 months. So there's a long layoff here. There's going to be a little bit of ring rust. He was scheduled to fight Alexander Topuria last year, had to pull out with an injury. So ring rust, injury rehabilitation, and he's not the original opponent for Malcolm. Surrey City pulled out of this fight less than 2 weeks ago. So now Cody Haddon is taking this fight, I think, on about 14 days' notice. He's got to travel from Perth to New York, which is probably at least 36 hours just in flights.
Yeah.
You're cutting weight. You're trying to prepare for an opponent that you didn't know that you were going to fight just a little bit ago. And there's ring rust. And, you're putting everything together at the last minute. This is all the shit that Quillen Salkild went through fighting Nasrat Haqparast on short notice in Abu Dhabi. But Salkild going from Perth to Abu Dhabi is it's like half the length of the flight that it's going to be for Cody to go to New York here to fight a guy in Wellmaker who just has terrifying power. And one of the things that I see from Cody is he's a combination puncher. Mm-hmm. He goes in there and sometimes he'll even dig to the body first. And I mean, like, you throw a left hook to the body against Malcolm Wellmaker, oh boy, your chin's wide open for a right hook counter. And that's really all he does. He counters with that right hook. It makes it very difficult to get offense off against this guy. He's taller than everybody. He's massive for the weight class. One punch KO power. He's went 5 rounds on the regional scene. He's shown good conditioning going later into fights. And he's training full-time now for the first time in his career. So I think we can expect improvements from Malcolm. He's been the more active fighter as of late, fighting more frequently and showing a lot of panache with the way that he's finishing these fights. So I like Wellmaker first round KO. I think if Cody Haddon was taking this fight on a full camp and it was happening like in Australia, for instance, I think, I would be a lot more willing to consider a Haddon bet, but this is too much to ask. Malcolm Wellmaker is a tough row to hoe any way that you slice it. But if you got to take this fight on less than 2 weeks' notice, make a long trip, a short notice weight cut, and try to prepare for this kind of opponent in that little amount of time, I think Wellmaker's going to knock him out.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I think the way that Haddon fights is pretty aggressive. And for a guy that is a sniper like that, it kind of seems like a recipe for him to find a KO. My only worry would be, I just don't know what Wellmaker's ground game really looks like. I don't know that Haddon is like the best grappler that he could be matched up with. Like, Haddon's a solid grappler, but I don't think he's like a guy that's going to take you down and just rinse you on the mat. So with the short notice, the travel as well, I do think Wellmaker is – I took him for the pick. I don't know that I'm going to bet him as a favorite, but one of those props, maybe we could pull those up. Wellmaker KO, probably KO 1 or KO 2. His sniping, like striking, is beautiful to watch, man. It is really pretty. It kind of reminds me of Sean O'Malley, the way that he can just see the opening and just hit it real quick, and you don't even know what the fuck just hit you. And I know it's Moutinho, and I know Cameron Simon's kind of been on a down slope, but you're going to fucking KO those guys in round 1 if you're really that guy. And he did exactly what he should have done. So, plus 400 on the round 1 KO for Wellmaker, plus 650 on the KO for round 2. Probably comes within the first 1.5 rounds. So, we don't have an alternate 1.5 rounds, but the under 2.5 is minus 140. At that point, I was going to say at that point, you're probably better off playing them just the KO early on for Wellmaker. But Haddon's only been to like one decision in his career, I think, and that was against Steve Erceg. So Haddon's kind of a finisher himself, especially on the mat. I think Haddon's good, man. But, the question mark is, of course, the short notice, the travel, all that. And will he be able to take the punches from Wellmaker?
Yeah, I mean, like that power is just next level.
It is. You could tell it's a different type of hit, different type of thud, and different type of speed as well. People were hyping Haddon one fight ago. He's only had one fight. Come down for the beer fest, Hayden. Hey, I got some family down in Indianapolis, so maybe.
Nice.
Is this the first time y'all break a card down together? This is such a pleasant surprise from Dixon Cider. 2 unexpected flavors I never thought I'd be savoring together, kind of like rum raisin ice cream. Delicious. It is the first time we've broken down a card. Probably not the last. Dixon is loving this. He's absolutely loving it. Shout out to Dixon Cider. Always
our guy.
Gotta love him. All right, more women's MMA. We got Erin Blanchfield taking on Tracy Cortez. Cortez coming in as the dog. She is also the winner of the first fight between these two girls. Very close fight again. I think it was a split decision long time ago. Now, Tracy Cortez is coming off the win to Viviane Araujo. Erin Blanchfield coming off the win to Rose Namajunas. She had the fight with Macy Barber get pulled minutes before it was supposed to happen, so she's pissed off. She's coming in here, fighting in her home region as a pretty sizable favorite. I was a bit shocked to see Erin Blanchfield at minus 235 because she's not the best wrestler, and I think Tracy Cortez is a good fighter. But the problem is, the more I kind of dove deeper into it, I do think Blanchfield should be the favorite because I think the striking is probably pretty competitive. I don't think Blanchfield's a great striker, but I think she does make it effective with her pace and her pressure. And I think if the fight hits the ground, she's the far better grappler. And I had in my mind that like Tracy Cortez was just a lights out defensive wrestler, but after I watched the tape, I didn't really see that. So I do think Blanchfield probably gets this one done. I might try to take a look at a stab on a submission prop. I'm going to check the line on that, but I think Blanchfield gets it done. What do you think, Weezy?
Yeah, I agree, man. Obviously there's a path here for Tracy, right?
Yeah.
If she is the better defensive wrestler, she could either get takedown. She's the better offensive and defensive wrestler in this matchup, in my opinion. So the path for Tracy is, keep it closer, win a little bit of the minutes on the feet, and, initiate the grappling exchanges on your terms and either try to win minutes with takedowns at the end of rounds, or stuff her takedowns and make her pay, on the way out. But Blanchfield throws more at distance striking range. She's got that forward pressure, which I think is always going to help you if you're the one wanting to get the takedowns. You want to get your opponent on the back foot, put him up against that fence. And, I just think she's just a lot more serious about MMA. I mean, Tracy Cortez has been around the UFC forever. She's only 6-1.
Yeah.
She's been here for 8 or 9 years, and she's only fought 7 times. And I got to tell you, man, I'm a little bit worried about Erin Blanchfield here, because she just got pulled out on fight night. And now she's fighting Tracy Cortez. And Tracy Cortez is one of the pull-out queens, my friend.
Yeah. Yeah.
She, I remember her pulling out of a fight on fight week once for undisclosed reasons.
Yeah, was rumors she was pregnant or something, right?
Some shit like that, and people were like, there was rumors flying around, and it's never good when there are rumors flying around, because then you're going to have people saying some shit that's not true, and people aren't going to know what to believe because they never heard it from the person that actually pulled out of the fight. So, if Tracy pulls out, on weight cut day or the day of the fight, somebody's got to check on Erin Blanchfield, because she's going to want to punch a wall or something.
Pissed.
So. Yeah, I mean, I'm just not I'm not taking Tracy that seriously right now. At 32 years of age, she kind of looks like, she only fights once a year. She's a good wrestler, a solid striker, good all-around fighter. She's got some good wins. I mean, Jasmine Jasdavicius is a great win. Melissa Gatto is a really solid win. Vivi Araujo is a good win. She's a good fighter, but Erin Blanchfield is somebody that's got title aspirations. Erin Blanchfield is somebody that you could probably count on to fight 3 times a year if she's healthy. Erin fights with a lot more aggression and forward pressure, and with a lot more process, in my opinion, than Tracy does. So, yeah, I like Erin here. Probably Erin by decision. But if she gets Tracy in a bad spot on the mat, that she can finish with ground and pound or a submission. So, yeah, I feel pretty good about Erin winning this fight, but you got to keep in mind that there is a path for Tracy because she is the better wrestler. And if she fights smart and initiates the grappling exchanges on her terms, there's a path for her.
Yeah, I agree. That was my initial thought. I was like, this number's wide, but
yeah, me too, dude. I thought the same thing, but I'm like, who are we fucking kidding? Erin's going to beat her.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the submission's 5-1. Plus 500. I mean, I might be willing to lose a few bucks on that, honestly.
Just not a bad number, dude.
Just considering, if the fight does hit the ground, I think Erin's grappling is good, man. It's really good.
Yeah, she's got all the finish upside too.
Yeah, Cortez's loss, other than the Rose fight, was a submission. I think it was her first UFC or first professional MMA fight, but. Still, man, what submission grapplers has she faced? Maybe Melissa Gatto. Is that about it?
Yeah, Melissa Gatto.
I guess Rose, but Rose.
Yeah, Rose is a good grappler, but I think Rose even out wrestled her.
Yeah, she did. I mean, she took her down with ease. That's what kind of. I'm like, man, I thought Tracy's defensive wrestling was good, because I think I had the Jasdavicius fight in my mind, where she kind of just stood from the outside and just poked away at her the entire fight. And her boxing looked sharp in that one, but it's going to be tough to replicate that here against Erin Blanchfield. Dick's Insider, where were you, buddy? Oh, there we go. Yeah, buddy, I got a cold. I wasn't hanging out with Juan Camilo Ronderos. My nerves are not irritated. Santino DeFranco's second to last fight. Maybe Tracy tries hard. She better fucking try hard.
She always tries hard.
Yeah. Yeah, until her eyelash gets popped. And then she tries even harder.
Man. Like, how the hell are they even letting you, I say the same thing when I watched football now and dudes are going out, dudes wearing jewelry in a football game. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? Why do they let them wear that on there? Dude, I remember going to judo practice, and if you had your necklace on, people would be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Take it off. And And why? How could you let somebody wear fake eyelashes in a cage? How is that not like some kind of that's got to be a hazard, right?
Yeah, I don't know what that's about. I don't know what, like, why? Why do you need that? Yeah, I mean, she's got to keep up her look, I guess. You know,
It's ridiculous.
That's what she's more concerned about nowadays. I guess her whole career, honestly. Want to pick JDM, but I keep thinking Islam will rise to the challenge and win in a competitive fight. We're almost there, boys. We're almost there. Let's go to Roman Kopylov taking on RoboCop Rodrigues. RoboCop coming in here off the win to Jack Hermanson. Slept him out cold. Good night. And Roman Kopylov coming off the loss to Paulo Costa by decision, where he was a pretty sizable favorite in that one and took a beating. Got completely outclassed. And that was a pretty big step up in competition for him. Now this is maybe a similar type of competition, maybe a step down. I would probably say a step down, considering what they've accomplished. But a very similar type of fighter in the fact that they're big, muscular guys that want to get in your face and land shots. I would say Paulo Costa is more of a evader with his style, better footwork than RoboCop, more of a linear get in your face and try to box it out with you. But RoboCop also has some grappling upside here. So RoboCop's the favorite. I understand why he's the favorite. You know, I've never really thought Kopylov was some amazing fighter, but he is skilled when he can have his fight. I just don't know that he's going to be able to have his fight. You know, he wants a guy that's going to be able to, that's going to stand across from him where he can just kind of stick and move and like poke away with his jab and his kicks. But RoboCop's going to be trying to land big shots, and he can mix in the grappling. Do I trust him to not get chinned here? I can never trust the guy to not get chinned, but I do think he's the rightful favorite. He's minus 190 now. So that looks like the line is climbing on RoboCop. You agree with that, or you thinking the dog could come through here, Weezy?
Yeah, I mean, I get why Rodrigues is the favorite here. He's won 4 out of his last 5 fights. You know, like Kopylov's last recent performances have been, you know, kind of just okay. Obviously, I think he's been fighting just a little bit tougher level of competition with guys like Curtis and Costa and Anthony Hernandez. But Rodrigues has been out there against Jack Hermanson and Jared Cannonier and Christian Leroy Duncan. You know, so he's fighting some good names in his own right. But all the grappling upside here is on the Rodrigues side. Yeah. And I think the striking exchanges are going to be close. You know, obviously Kopylov's got better kicks. He's got a little bit more of a dependable durability, I would say, than Rodrigues does. So I favor Roman Kopylov at distance striking range, but I think that's going to be close. If Rodrigues does mix in the wrestling and fight smart here, though, I don't think the takedowns are going to come easy. But if he gets one and he puts Kopylov's back on the mat, I think that the fight will be over shortly thereafter. Kopylov is very difficult to take down, but once you get him down, he has nothing there. Remember Carl Roberson submitting this man in round 3? You remember like Duraev nearly killing this guy in round 2 when he got on top of him? If you get on top of this guy, somebody like Rodrigues, who's got a high-level Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu background and really solid ground and pound from top position. Remember that elbow that he hit Tia Lulin with?
Dude.
Remember like the sound that made?
I didn't think Tululin was going to get up.
No, dude, that was so nasty, dude. It was so nasty. So, like, I think that Rodrigues probably wins this fight because Kopylov is going to have to fight a pretty perfect fight because I think Gregory's a good match for him at distance striking range, but he's going to have to worry about those takedowns. He's going to have to stop those takedowns. And when you're worried about takedowns, it's kind of hard to let go fully with your kick attack because you worry about those kicks getting caught. So it's a tricky matchup here for Kopylov. I think Rodrigues is the rightful favorite here, but there's some big line shifts in both guys here where you could kind of find some value on both of them. But I think that's because the markets have gotten some of their recent fights like horribly wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, are you willing to lose money on Rodrigues sub at plus 450?
It's one of those things. It's like I've got Slava Borchev on this card, and I lost so much money backing him. And like Gregory Rodrigues by submission is something that I think a lot of the real ones in the chat have been chasing for a minute, because you figure like, oh, he could sub Cannonier. He could sub Tavares if he gets him down. He could sub Tialulin and he knocks him out. There's just so many times where you thought he was going to sub somebody, and then he just wound up, swinging dicks and trying to knock him out instead.
I was maybe going to look for the over 1.5 here when it was at minus 145, but that's just based off of Kopylov being like pretty defensively responsible on the feet. I think his initial takedown defense is pretty good, but I could also just see like RoboCop hitting him with a big shot early, shit gets wild, or even if he wants to go in there with a grappling heavy game plan, just get his hands wrapped around his waist, lift him up and dump him down. I think RoboCop could do that to a lot of people. Doesn't seem like he wants to do it, but it's every fight where we talk about if RoboCop wants to grapple here, he should have a path, and he just rarely ever does it. The one time he did do it was, of course, the time I bet CLD against him. But is this the fight to do it? Yes, Gregory, it is. It is. Go out there and grapple, bro. Kopylov, that's his weakness. And I think RoboCop gets it done. I'm not going to lay minus 190, though, man. I think there's better spots on the card. RoboCop could also get chin. Get caught with a head kick. Get caught with a nice left hand down the pipe. I mean, he faced Cesar Almeida, and he caught Almeida with a nice left hand at the beginning of round 1. And we've seen RoboCop get chinned by a southpaw before in the UFC. Bruno Ferreira knocked him out cold. And he hasn't been knocked out in a while. So it's kind of like, all right, when is that going to come back? When are you going to get knocked out again, RoboCop? Waiting for
Jordan Williams is a southpaw who knocked him out on Dana White's Contender Series before he got here. So these southpaws have given him problems, man.
It's the left hand down the pipe. Doesn't see it coming. And Jordan,
by the way, you mentioned the over 1.5 at minus 155. My betting model absolutely loves that bet. It's a trifecta bet. 14 of these guys' 20 fights, or 70%, have went over 1.5 rounds.
Yeah.
And typically, Kopylov gets his knockouts in the second half of the fight after he gets his read. He's traditionally kind of a slow starter. So over 1.5 rounds, minus 145, minus 155, a really good bet according to my betting model. And I sent you a copy to my stat sheet this week, so you can check it out at your own leisure.
Thank you. There was a time where Kopylov round 2-3 KO, when he was facing those cans, was like terrible odds, because everybody knew it was either going to be round 2 or round 3. And it always happened to be like the second half of round 2, almost always. So it's a good fight though. I think it's a good addition, good matchmaking right there.
Agreed.
RoboCop 2 stuck in the mud, roaming all day. I was very impressed with Kopylov against Chris Curtis. Another kind of plotty striker, but much different genetic makeup, just to say that. Roman has never been KO'd. Round 3, Roman sprinkle. I could even see a RoboCop round 3, kind of, if he gets his grappling going. I do like Kopylov just slightly, though, because Gregory has that one-punch power. Yeah, I would say Gregory's got a power edge here. All right, feature prelim. We got Bo Nickel taking on Rodolfo Vieira. Vieira coming off the win to Tresean Gore, the legend of all legends. And Bo Nickel coming off the loss to RDR. So first fight after he takes his first loss, they match him up with another grappler. But this time it's not the massive Rainier de Ritter. It's the black belt hunter, Rodolfo Vieira. And I really expect this to be a boring fight, because I feel like Bo Nickel's going to treat this like the Paul Craig fight. But I don't know that. I honestly don't think Bo Nickel's good, man. I watch his fights and I'm like, his striking sucks. I mean, the way that he fought Paul Craig, it didn't really know. Like, you don't go to do a decision with Paul Craig. You just don't do that. You should be able to knock him out, or at the very least drop him. He was just loading up on these overhands. He's like trying to feint at Paul Craig, and Paul Craig's not biting on anything because Paul Craig has no striking. So, I mean, he didn't want to take down Paul Craig, which I understand, but then at least put on like a masterclass on the feet. And I get, like, he's early in his MMA career, so it's not going to be amazing. But Adolfo Vieira's at least he's not a fucking Val Woodburn. He's not what's the Donovan Beard that he fought in the Contender Series? Like, he's not one of those guys. So the only guys that he's not a Jamie Pickett, he's at least has something that he can fall back on to where, like, he is elite at. He is an elite grappler that I feel like has upped his striking to be serviceable to where he can win a striking fight against the Tresean Gore. And is Tresean Gore that much worse of a striker than Bo Nickel? I don't think so. Like, I don't think Tresean Gore is good, but I don't think Bo Nickel's a good striker. So this is a very weird one for me because I think Bo's going to go in there and strike with him and maybe with like a minute left in the round, get a takedown to like secure it. But is he going to be able to easily outstrike Adolfo Vieira? Like, maybe, but I just don't think his striking is that good. So there's no chance in hell I'm laying chalk on Bo Nickel and this spot at minus 229 when Reinier de Ridder fucking knocked him out. Like, I know de Ridder's huge and he just kind of bullied him in there, but Bo fucking pulled guillotine on RDR. He took down RDR. RDR forces a scramble, and then he fucking pulled guillotine. You know who else pulled guillotine against Adolfo Vieira? Cody fucking Brundage.
I remember.
And he got fucking arm triangle. So I feel like this is still, it's not like a setup fight. Like, it's not just an easy win for Bo to get back on track. Like, I feel like some people are making it out to be. I was a pussy and still picked Bo Nickel to win in my video, but fucking A, man. Wheezy, talk to me here. Well, what are we doing with this, dude?
Dude, I bitched out and picked Bo as well. I did, but I mean, I got to tell you, man, I mean, like, Rodolfo is plus 195 here. That's the side. That's the money line side. I think you're kind of crazy if you're laying minus 230 on Bo here because that number assumes that he wrestles.
Yeah.
Because he's not minus 230 on the feet against Vieira. I think Vieira's minus 150 on the feet. He's the much crisper striker. He throws more volume, and we've actually seen him strike at the UFC level against legitimate strikers, which is something we haven't seen yet from Bo Nickel. So, I mean, Adolfo Vieira is coming off in a win in his last fight over Tresean Gore, a future 2-division champion, 185 and 205. He said it himself, So, I mean, like, you can't take that win lightly. And Vieira actually has shown 100% takedown defense at the UFC level. It's only on 5 attempts over 9 fights because basically nobody's trying to take Adolfo Vieira down, Yeah. I think Cody tried a couple of times, just to kind of get him off of him. And I don't know where the other ones came from, but
the crazy part is when I watch Bo's wrestling and MMA, it doesn't even look good.
That's the thing. It's a completely different sport. Whenever you change the rule set, right, there's going to be adjustments that need to be made. We're not wearing shoes in that cage. There's no out of bounds. There's no fence. Like, none of that shit is present on a wrestling mat. And most importantly, a wrestling match at the collegiate level is 6 minutes. So that means it's very, very difficult to wrestle for 15 minutes because Bo Nickel, since a very young age, has conditioned himself to wrestle hard for 6 minutes. To get that to 7 or 8 even takes a great amount of conditioning and work. To get it to 15, he's going to have to find success with his striking. So I definitely think Vieira is the side here. Vieira by decision is plus 600. right? And I don't think Vieira is like really knocking dudes out. I think it's going to be very difficult for him to submit Bo Nickel because Bo's is going to be a very good, obviously, offensive and defensive wrestler and be the better wrestler in this matchup. So oftentimes in these wrestler versus BJJ matchups, you get kind of a sloppy striking match. I favor Rodolfo Vieira in a sloppy striking match, but I think that Bo can get takedowns whenever he wants them. And if he fights smart, and I think he will because he fought smart against Paul Craig, not going into his guard, I think he's going to keep the distance striking, exchanges close, feint those takedowns, make Rodolfo be a little bit less aggressive, find a takedown, like you said, with a minute left in the round, land a little bit of ground and pound, and edge this out on the judges' scorecards. And I think if it's close, on the judges' scorecards, I think Bo's the A side. He probably wins a close decision here. So that's why the pick is Nickel by decision. But I think the value is on Vieira. I might take a poke at the money line at plus 195 or the decision prop at plus 600.
Yeah, that's interesting. Because, I mean, fucking Paul Craig was competitive with him on the feet, man.
Yeah, that was a fairly close fight. I thought Bo won it and not won it like decisively, but I think it would have been like a hard argument to give Paul Craig 2 of those rounds, a really hard argument.
Yeah, I agree. I think round 1, maybe Craig took, but then I think round 2 and 3 started to land a few more of those overhands, kind of swung it a little bit. I was looking at the fight to go the distance.
I agree.
It moved a little bit.
Yeah.
I saw it at minus 105 earlier in the week. Now it's up to minus 125. What'd you say? Rodolfo by decision. I'm losing my voice. 6-1. Yeah. I mean,
it's a big number.
Big number. I mean, that's most likely for the fight to go the distance. The dog by decision there, plus 600 is big for a guy that, like we said, is arguably the better striker in this matchup, which is kind of insane.
Yeah.
And I was going to look at, you mentioned the time with the wrestling, and we haven't really seen Bo like pushed in a fight except for the RDR one, and he fumbled. He just folded. So, I mean, I remember when Dustin Stoltzfus got his back taken in round 3 by Rodolfo, got choked out. Round 3 sub for Rodolfo Vieira, plus 1,600. You probably get something better on a different book, plus 2,200. Vieira round 3 sub, little back take at the end of the fight, gets it done. He's got elite rear naked choke. So we'll see.
Goes back to his stool after round 2 and goes, God, this is too long. This is too long to wrestle. What's happening?
Money came in today on Fight Doesn't Go. Line movement, or Vegas is adjusting lines again to deceive us. I didn't see that.
No, definitely the money's coming in on Fight
to Go.
Goes. Yeah, Fight Goes, because it was plus 100 just before Stat Diggers, and now it's minus 125.
Yes, sir. All right, before we get into the main card, I got to give a shout out to 3 Punch Combo. I don't know if you're familiar, Wheezy, but 3punchcombo.com. It's like an MMA forum online, a very tight-knit MMA community. So if you're a diehard fan that loves talking fights, that wants to have access to UFC fighters right now in 3-Punch Combo, they got Steve Garcia, Nazim Sajikov, Chase Hooper, Dean Thomas. They got some forums on there. So it's the diehard fans that really want to talk fights. They have a video here. So if you want to ask a fighter question here, you can get some answers as well. So this question was about fighters traveling and how that affects them leading up to the fight. You got a couple of different fighters talking about how that affects them. And then there's a good community of diehard fans that like to talk MMA. Right now, you can sign up with my code JIVE for a free month. It's usually just $4.99 a month. Very moderated community, so you're not going to have to deal with like a bunch of trolls, which is kind of tough, like when you're in a Discord or something. Very hard to moderate those, but in 3-Punch Combo it's highly checked. So go check it out, 3punchcombo.com. Use code JIVE for a free month. Let's remove that from the stage, and we'll get back to the breakdown. We're going to the main card. We're an hour and 20 in. Please hit the like button for me and Wheezy, giving you guys the sauce leading up to 322. Can't wait for this Saturday. Somebody said it in my live stream on Sunday, but these pay-per-view cards always seems like the week goes slower than like an Apex week. Apex weeks, it just flies through. You get to Saturday, and then you're already watching fights. Pay-per-view weeks, the build-up just feels so long to get there. I don't know what do you think about that, Wheezy? Because I feel like it just takes forever to get there for a pay-per-view.
I tend to agree because these are usually the fights that you never want to see canceled. And a lot of times those fights wind up getting canceled. So it's like, oh, shit, can we just get there already?
Yeah.
I want to see this fight happen. I want these guys to weigh in. I want everybody to be good. I want this card to stay where it's at. And, yeah, the longer it takes to get there, the more that things can go wrong. So I totally get that.
Dixon, I don't believe there's any hot female fighters in there. And if you're going to go in there looking for feet pictures, you're probably going to be banned. I'm sorry, Dixon. There was Laura Sanko in there. I don't know if she's still in there. I think she is. I think Laura Sanko's in there, but don't go asking her for feet pics, please, because you're probably going to get banned. And, yeah, you're not going to have a good time in there. I'm sorry. Really neat seeing MMA takes from pros like Dean Thomas on the 3-punch combo. Site is clean, no ads, no fluff. Yeah, that's the big thing. You get on some of these forums, there's a fuck ton of ads. I don't know about you, Easy, but every time I go on Tapology, there's just ads blasting at me left and right, and they're all like targeted ads. You know, I recently got engaged to my fiance, and on my computer, you know, I'm trying to find rings, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the targeted ads on Tapology are like all rings, and if she walks in while I'm on my computer, she sees me looking at rings, the whole surprise is gone. You know,
Yep.
I fucking hate ads. I hate dealing with ads. It's a bunch of bullshit, but fuck, man.
Dude, you got to get the Brave browser, man. I haven't seen an ad on Tapology in 3 years, man. If you get a good browser, it's going to block every single ad, every single pop-up. And if you Google Brave, Brave browser, I promise you download that, you're going to be done with all of those targeted ads. None of them are going to pop up. When you watch MMA Full to Watch tape, you're not going to see those pop-up porn ads. You ruin your computer. I mean, imagine your fiance walks in then, you know. That's what you really need. You need the Brave browser. You can even watch YouTube commercial-free for free on the Brave browser, my friend. It's a
life hack.
Great little secret from your Uncle Wheezy there.
Life hack from Uncle Wheezy. That's a ton of value right there for anybody that's watching. Shout out to the 350 live viewers in the chat. Let's break down this main card. We got Beneil Dariush taking on Benoit Saint-Denis. Benoit comes in as a minus 185 favorite. Beneil Dariush plus 160. Benoit coming off the submission victory to Mauricio Hufi as an underdog. And all I was seeing from majority of people that entire week was Mauricio Rufi's going to knock this dude out. BSD sucks. It's going to be the easiest fight for Mauricio Rufi. That didn't happen. BSD got it done. And now he's minus 185 against a much better fighter in Beneil Dariush. And I'm like, what has changed? You know, BSD submits a guy that hadn't faced any grapplers in his entire career. And now he's a favorite to Beneil Dariush. And I get it to a certain extent. Like, I think Beneil's durability is pretty rough at this point. Like, I get that. But BSD's entire game is predicated on getting you down and out-grappling you. He's not going to fucking out-grapple Beneil Dariush. So I really want to take a shot on Dariush. But it's kind of like the Pat Sabatini one, where at any point he gets clipped on the chin, the fight could be over. Yeah. But at least in this spot, you're getting plus 160. So I'm kind of tempted to take Dariush here. Dariush is also 10-0 to the decision. BSD is not a guy that rarely goes, or not a guy that goes to decision all that often. So I'm kind of tempted to maybe just sprinkle on a Dariush decision at plus 500, or or just take the shot on the money line with Darush, because everyone expects, BSD to get a KO here. And I don't really think the odds on it are that great. But also, like, BSD is more of a submission guy. He's not really like a knockout guy. So this one has me, kind of scratching my head, man. I'm like, I know the outcome could be bad for Darush, but is it enough to take a shot? Like, I kind of feel like it is. What do you think, Weezy?
Yeah, I already did take the shot, actually. And I'm picking Benoit Saint-Denis to win and win inside the distance. But his inside the distance prop is plus 110. And Beneil Dariush's decision prop is plus 500. And you can't tell me that Benoit Saint-Denis is a better grappler than Beneil Dariush. The proof is in the pudding, you guys. Look at this guy's resume. He was a huge underdog to Mateusz Gamrot because everyone's like, Gamrot's going to out-wrestle him. Wrong. He did not wrestle him. I mean, Dariush scrambled with him in every position. Dariush wound up on top a few different times. It's going to be the same thing with Benoit Saint-Denis. Beneil is going to be able to keep a long distance with his kicks. And when Benoit crashes the pocket, Beneil's going to have a chance to take him down. But really, what the most likely thing to happen here is that Beneil is going to get chinned and finished, whether it's a club and sub or whether it's just a straight up knockout, because Benoit's got power, man. He's got 4 knockdowns in 10 UFC fights. He's landing a knockdown on 1% of the significant strikes that he lands. So he's got good power numbers, and that's all you need to have in order to hurt Beneil. And once you hurt him, it's easy to show him the door. So I do have 1 unit on Beneil to win by decision at plus 500 because I think that's his path. I think his path is finding takedowns. And then once he gets the takedown, he can keep you there. Just like Moicano kept Benoit Saint-Denis down for the entire first round. Beneil Dariush is even better at that than Moicano is. So, and then another stat that I want to bring to your attention that's in my fight write-up for this fight, which I also brought out on Stat Diggers, is that Beneil Dariush has been priced as an underdog 13 times in the UFC, right? 13 times been priced as either a pick'em or an underdog. And in those 13 fights, he's 10 wins, 2 loss, and 1 draw. So his ROI when the market underestimates him and thinks that he's going to lose is over 90%. That is a fucking crazy record to have. Beneil Dariush is a guy that you really want to back as an underdog, because most of the time that the market thinks that he's going to lose, they're fucking wrong.
Yeah, and one of those losses was Susurkaev. So, I mean,
yeah,
it's like,
who was a brutal matchup for him. Susurkaev is probably a better wrestler than Beneil is, so he was going to be able to control the location of that fight. That's not the case with Benoit.
Yeah, I mean, I just find it really hard to think Beneil at this number. Like, yeah, we already know what the worst outcome could be. And like, is he going to go out there and do it? Like, sure, he could. But at that point, like, I'm definitely not laying chalk on BSD. I would probably look for like an early finish, like an early KO on him. I'm trying to pull up those odds. Round 1 KO for Saint-Denis is plus 400. Like, that's probably something I would look at if you like the BSD side. Maybe you could even play round 1 KO for BSD at plus 425 and Beneil decision at plus 500. Just take 2 big plus money shots. And I feel like one of them cashes, because Beneil's not going to go into the 3rd round and then get KO'd. I highly doubt it. I kind of feel like if BSD is going to knock him out, it's going to be from like being in the clinch. Beneil's probably stuffing a takedown. BSD's working him in the clinch, maybe lands a big elbow, or just steps away and throws some big hooks and catches him with something. It's not going to be like a crisp left hand. Maybe it could be a high kick like Charles Oliveira hit him with. Benoit's got a nice high kick, but they're southpaw and southpaw, so it doesn't really work out the same. Beneil just kind of fights like a drunk man at some points, where he's just like wobbling all around. It kind of looks like he's wobbled, and he just can't trust his durability. And you never have been. That's the thing. It's not like this is he's just recently lost his chin. Like, I think it was his second UFC fight. He got knocked out by Ramsey Nijam or something.
Yeah.
Some guy like that. And to get knocked out by Oliveira and Sarukian, like, okay, man, like, I get it. And then, of course, a common opponent in Moicano, he out-grappled Moicano, and Moicano out-grappled BSD. So, dog or pass, Benil decision plus 500 is intriguing. If you like the BSD side, I would probably say to go round 1 KO or maybe round 1 or 2 finish, something like that.
Yeah.
To get the number down. Is that Dravi's burner? Eileen Perez's butthole? Is that Dravi's burner?
I know, but because that account is talking about Nicholas Ott, Dravi's been really kind of talking up how good of a coach that dude is. And, I know I cashed on Benoit Saint-Denis in his last fight against Rufi. I thought it was entirely too cheap there. And I remember Dravi before that fight was talking about how he had switched camps and that this guy, Nick Ott, was a really good coach.
Yeah. He was coaching Imavov too, right? In that one?
So, like, Imavov used to be at the MMA Factory, but I think that he might have switched over too now. And, like, you've seen what he's been doing in recent fights. The guy looks incredible right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, BSD looked great in that fight, but, I would just question the level of competition. We don't really know what Rufi is at this point, All right. Banger in the welterweight division. We got Leon Edwards taking on Carlos Prozes, maybe the most exciting fighter in the welterweight division, taking on the least exciting in Leon Edwards.
Clash of styles.
This isn't striker versus grappler. This isn't power puncher versus volume puncher. This is, well, actually kind of is. This is excitement versus put you to sleep in the worst way. Not knock you out, just straight up let you doze off while you're watching him. Leon Edwards comes in off the loss to Sean Brady, gets submitted in round 4, and another loss before that to Bilal Muhammad. Carlos Prozes, insane, spinning back elbow KO to Jeff Neal, the Texas Roadhouse waiter. And it's nasty, man. It's absolutely nasty. I'll tell just a little bit of a story about that fight. I'm a big daily fantasy player, so like significant strike lines, stuff like that. And I had Jeff Neal over on significant strikes. It was like 36 or something, 36 and a half. And he had like close to 30 by the time the fight ended and at 1 second left in round 1. And I had like a long, I think it was 8-leggers, 120x payout. So you'd turn like $100 into 12,000 essentially. And that was the only leg that lost. So that spinning back elbow that KO'd him with 1 second left cost me about 12 grand. We just needed that fight to start round 2, and I think we've been all right. So I'm a little upset about that one, but it was nasty. Got to give him props. And Carlos Prozes seems like a guy that we just haven't seen knock guys out. Like, I mean, all of his KOs in the UFC are walk-off KOs.
Yeah.
And even back to the regional scene, they're walk-off KOs. The power on this guy is different. And I don't think he's going to come into this fight looking to do anything else than he normally does. My question would be, what does Leon Edwards do with this fight? Does he want to grapple when every fight that he's been in for the past 4 or 5 years has been against grapplers? Or does he want to stand and strike with Carlos Prozes? I don't know what he's going to do. I think if he grapples, he could probably have some success, because I do think Leon's grappling is pretty good. It's definitely gotten good over the years facing these grapplers. But I don't know that he's going to do that, and I don't know that he's going to just be lights out with it, right? So I think Prozes gets another KO here within the first 2 rounds. Leon's never been KO, but we've seen him hurt against Barberena, against Nate Diaz, and even Usman was hitting with some good shots as well. So, I mean, Carlos Prozes is just one of those guys. You make one mistake, the fight's over. So Prozes is minus 185. Leon Edwards plus 160. What do you think here, Wheezy?
Yeah, I've never really been a fan of Leon Edwards. His style is very useful and it's very efficient, but it's not fun to watch, you know. And I mean, like, his fight against Colby Covington has to be one of the worst fights I've ever seen in my life, and maybe the most underwhelming win I've ever seen in a high-level fight since I started watching. You know, maybe that fight is like the male version of Carla Esparza versus Rose Namajunas. You know, like, that fight sucked so bad. And, you know, Leon has been fighting all these grapplers, and now he's getting a really explosive striker. And I know that Leon's got good grappling, and he's taken down some good fights. He's taken down Kamaru Usman. He's taken down Bilal. He's taken down Colby. He's taken down some guys. He spends 20% of his UFC octagon time controlling his opponents, but he only wins 43% of the control time positions in his fights because he's fighting so many dominant grapplers. I mean, 3 fights against Kamaru Usman, a fight against Colby, a fight against Bilal. He's fought a lot of really good grapplers. But I think he's going to have to fight like a perfect fight here. You know, if you go and you watch that Ian Gary fight, Prozes has got good takedown defense and a very good get-up game. He's going to be very difficult to take down and hold down for extended stretches. And while Leon's a very slick striker and he's very defensively responsible, I just think that there's going to be that point that we see in every Carlos Prozes fight where it's usually about 3.5, 4 minutes into the first round when he's gotten his reads that he just says, all right, he just starts moving forward at some point, and you know the fight's going to be over in 30 seconds. Step in knee, head kick, straight left, an elbow in the clinch. Dude, he's knocked guys out with a jab before. You know, so, like, I mean, I don't see how Leon Edwards deals with this massive shift in style of fight. I mean, we can just go, you look at his record as a pro and in the UFC, and you look at these names: Sean Brady, pure grappler; Bilal Muhammad, well-rounded fighter, but mostly a wrestler; Colby Covington, pure wrestler; Usman, solid striker, but pure wrestler, you know. Nate Diaz was the fight before that. I don't even know what he is. You know, Bilal Muhammad, eye poke fight; Rafael Dos Anjos, grappler; Gunnar Nelson, grappler. Donald Cerrone was the last time that he went out there against somebody that could knock you out on the feet, and that was 2018.
Yeah,
you know, and Carlos Prozes is 5 times as terrifying as Donald Cerrone on his best day. You know, when this guy knocks you out, you go to the fucking hospital and get a brain scan. I was there when Prozes knocked out Jeff Neal. You know, the United Center holds about 19,000 people. You could hear it echoing through the fucking arena. It was disgusting. It sounded like when Michael Page broke Cyborg's skull with that step-in knee. You know, it was sickening. It sounded like a cantaloupe fell off of the fucking counter. You know, so I think Carlos Prozes is going to land something big on Leon Edwards, and it's going to be nighty-night. Keep your butthole tight. It's going to be Carlos Prozes KO 1 or 2, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think Leon Edwards might piss his pants. He feels that.
Their first pants shitting or pants pissing in the octagon as he's twitching lifeless on the canvas.
Oh, man, the way that Prozes knocked out Mitch Ramirez on the Contender Series, it looked like he tased him. He went down like he got tased, man.
It was like that slightly delayed reaction, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, and it's everybody, dude. I mean, Charles Radke, I don't think the man has a liver anymore.
Yeah, it looked like that knee was shotgun. He flew backwards. Hit with the knee. It was crazy, man. And another thing too is the 3-round fight for Leon. He hasn't had a 3-rounder in forever.
Yeah, I know, dude. And I mean, he's gonna have to show some urgency, and if he does that, he's gonna give Prozes the ability to land on him. 3-round fight. All the moment winning potential is on the Prozes side here, pretty much, and the power difference is night and day.
I agree. Olajuwon with the nice plug here. Leon at Media Day today. I could do that. He's talking about wrestling, but I don't think going in there and lying on him will get me where I want to be faster. Good luck, buddy. Good luck.
He's a hard guy to take down. Even if you wanted to do that, I don't think he'd be able to. I mean, when you watch that Ian Gary fight, he was credited with 4 takedowns, but he had no top time.
Yeah. It was very little. Prozes scrambled out of it pretty quick. The one thing that I didn't really understand was the over-under. The over-under's under 2.5 is plus 110. Like for Prozes being the favorite, I would have thought the under would be favored. You know?
Yeah, agreed. But I think that's because Leon's never been knocked out. And when you see a stat like that for a veteran like Edwards, it's like, whoa, he's never been knocked out. You don't necessarily want to bet into that with an under. But when you look closer, like I keep all the stats, but like you got to look closer. Which one of his opponents was going to go out there and knock him out?
Yeah. I mean,
he's fought nobody with power. 2 of his opponents had power, by the way. Luque and Donald Cerrone. Even Brian Barberena back in 2017 dropped Leon Edwards.
Put him out cold. Out cold, man. His legs were gone on that shot.
Yeah, I mean, Nate Diaz too. Nate Diaz in round 5 clocked him, and then just instead of following up, pointed at him.
Did nothing.
Thanks, Nate.
Could have TKO'd him. We could have never had the head kick, the headshot dead if Nate followed up on that. Prozes round 1 KO plus 450 plus 575 on the round 2 KO. So you might get a nice number on round 1 or 2.
I don't mind that at all.
Considering he's minus 185, you probably get plus 225 maybe on the combined there.
I could bring up my Dutch bet calculator and find out.
He slapped him first too, hella funny. Yeah, he hit him with the Stockton slap, and then I think it was a left hand down the pipe. Caught him on the side of the cheek. Leon isn't aggressive or take risk. This could look like Woodley versus Burns.
Yeah, if you do a Dutch bet with the plus 450 and plus 575, you get plus 203.
203, yeah.
So it's not that much better than the just the straight KO prop.
It's not terrible. But that is the problem with Prozes is he does kind of cook like a little bit. He does get his reads. So if Leon's not really giving him anything, maybe it turns into like a 2-3 type of finish. But I don't know, man. I don't know if I want to sweat 5 minutes of Prozes in there. All right, we got 3 fights left to break down. If you're in the IG Live, come on over to YouTube, and you can watch here. You'll get your chats read on screen. So if you're in the IG Live, we're going to remove you right now. Hop on over to YouTube, type in Hey Jai Picks on YouTube, and you'll find us there. They're gone. Another banger in the welterweight division. Sean Brady taking on Michael Morales. Michael Morales, undefeated, knocked out my boy Gilbert Burns. I was there at the Apex. It was so sad. So sad. Just a sad day to be at the Apex and watch Gilbert Burns get KO'd. But he did it very easily. And Sean Brady, as we just said, coming off the win to Leon Edwards back in, what was that, March? And I'm going to start this one off by giving you guys a little bit of information that I was keen to yesterday. So I was talking to a former MMA manager, and right off the bat, I was looking at this matchup. I'm like, why the fuck is Sean Brady fighting Michael Morales? Why? It doesn't make any sense. Sean Brady just beat Leon Edwards, who was the number 1 contender or number 2 contender at the time. Why is he fighting Michael Morales? Doesn't make sense. He should be fighting another number 1 contender like a Bilal Muhammad, get his rematch, or fight an Ian Gary who was promised the title shot after he beat Carlos Prozes. But that didn't happen. So very head-scratching matchup here. It is a good fight, but like for Sean Brady, like why is he taking this fight? And apparently, there's some favoritism in MMA managing, and we all know Ian Gary is fighting Bilal Muhammad. So they're both managed by the same company, and I think Ian Gary's getting a little bit of favoritism as far as who they want to match up their guys with. So this matchup in general, to me, red flags for the Brady side, because I don't think he should be taking it. But that has nothing to do with the fight. The fight itself is interesting because I don't know what Michael Morales' ground game looks like. So we got to make some guesses. We got to make some guesses. And I think Sean Brady, if he does get him to the ground, he's probably going to be able to rinse and repeat. He kind of reminds me of a Marab type of style, to where once he gets you into the groove of grappling, where we're grappling. I'm going to beat you to the next position. We're going to go back and forth. You might get up from this spot, or you might escape this submission or this attempt, but I'm going to beat you to the next position, and you're going to have to keep defending. Otherwise, I'm going to make you pay. Kind of like how Marab does. He's going to let you back up, then he's going to drag you down, and then he's going to break away. You're going to get to range. He's going to throw his strikes, get back onto the takedown. So once you get into that rhythm with Sean Brady, it's a downhill trajectory. So I can see Brady have a lot of success with that. But if he can't get the takedown, or if he can't get past that reach disadvantage that he has against Michael Morales, we saw what happens when Sean Brady couldn't get the takedowns against a high-level opponent in Belal Muhammad. And Michael Morales does show very good takedown defense via the stats. Granted, he hasn't faced, the best grapplers on his come-up. But I think it's kind of a binary fight. It's striker versus grappler. If one guy gets his game going, it's going to look really good. So that's why I kind of default towards the underdog in Michael Morales, just because it's plus money. But honestly, it's a fight that I'm not really looking to get involved with my money. I would rather just wait to see, or just see how it plays out, and then look to capitalize on their next fights. But what do you think, Weezy?
Yeah, kind of like an under here, because Brady's got a phenomenal submission game, and we haven't seen much of Morales on the ground. So you kind of just got to assume, right, that if Brady does get on top of this guy and gets to a dominant position, that he's going to be live to finish the fight. I mean, if you're finishing guys like Leon Edwards and Kelvin Gastelum on the mat, you can find finishes. And Morales has got crazy power and just ridiculous athleticism for the division. 6 foot. He's listed at 6 feet. I'm pretty sure he's got to be taller than that. He's 79-inch reach is ridiculous.
When I was there at the Apex for the Burns fight, he's not 6 foot. He's at least 6'2".
Yeah.
And he is built like a brick shithouse.
I mean, the guy's an athletic freak. And he's shown good takedown defense on paper, and he's training at Valley Flow Striking alongside who? Belal Muhammad. So this guy's going to get the keys to the kingdom here. He's going to be able to learn from one of the best wrestlers and one of the smartest fighters in the division, and from a guy that's already used boxing and forward pressure and good takedown defense to beat Sean Brady. So I think Morales will have the keys to do this the right way and to get this win. But Sean Brady's a very good wrestler, and he's a phenomenal grappler. So I just don't know what this looks like if this fight goes to the ground. The physicality that Morales brings is going to make it very difficult for anybody to take this guy down and control him. But if you do, we just don't know what this guy is going to look like off of his back. And nobody really looks good off their back when they got Sean Brady on top of them. So it's a very, very difficult fight to call. I'm picking Michael Morales to win this one by 3rd round knockout, because I think Brady is going to have to sell out for the wrestling. And the more he has to do that, every time Morales stuffs a takedown, he's going to be this much closer to a knockout. And I think that that's how he wins this fight, is by stuffing takedowns, making Sean Brady tired, putting him on the back foot while it's at distant striking range, and eventually finding that big shot that shuts off the lights.
Morales plus 115 now, Brady minus 135. One thing I noticed when I was watching film was Morales does kind of give up his back a lot when he's defending takedowns on the fence. So even if Brady can't get the initial takedown, like, he could just take the back maybe from a standing position, or how they do it where they put one hook in and kind of drag you down, and then kind of like how Pantoja did it to Kai Kara France. It's going to be a lot harder to do that at a welterweight division, especially with a big physical guy like Morales. But that was just one thing I noticed, is that Morales does give up his back a lot to try to break the lock. what was it, round three KO you said for Morales?
Yeah, that's the prediction, but like it's gonna be tough, man. I mean, like this is such a good fight, and there's great arguments on both sides as to how these guys are gonna win this fight.
Plus 2,000. The ends inside the distance is minus 110 right now, which I don't think that's a bad look, man. I don't think it's a bad look.
Agreed. I like it because I think that if this fight does get to the ground, Brady's going to be very live for a finish. Yeah. And Michael Morales just has the touchy once and it's over. So, yeah, I mean, I could see either guy coming away with a finish here. So I would have to say my favorite bet for this is just fight doesn't go. You can get it at plus 105 on Bovada. I think that's a pretty good look.
Yeah, especially, I mean, in a striker versus grappler matchup, like whoever gets their game going could easily run away with it, get a finish. Plus 105 on a Bovada. Yeah, that's nice. Plus money on the fight to inside the distance there. Solid look. Brady's submission is sitting at plus 400. Morales KO plus 300. It's not bad. It's not bad. It's a great fight, though. I like the matchup. I just think it's a big risk for Sean Brady.
It is. It's a very big risk.
Brady, too strong. His wrestling is like a heavy blanket with submission attacks consistently. Yeah, I mean, I would have liked to see him do it against someone that has like really good takedown defense, you know, like Leon Edwards, I guess. And we just the problem was we just saw him get out grappled by Bilal. So going into that fight, it was like, okay, well, Brady's probably gonna do the same thing. And he did it to Calvin Gastelum. Gastelum at 170 was probably just wanting to eat cheeseburgers and fucking just go home, get paid, and take his purse and go to the taco stand and do whatever. But yeah, it's an interesting one. Brady is going to test Morales' ground game, and we don't know his defense is that good. Exactly why the ends inside the distance might be the play. I agree with you there, Wheezy. All right, co-main event. We got Valentina Shevchenko taking on Zhang Weili. Zhang Weili moving up a weight class, trying to become a 2-division champion. Valentina Shevchenko coming off the title defense against Manon Fiorot. Right now, Zhang Weili is the underdog at plus 115 odds. Valentina comes back at minus 135. So the same odds here as the last fight. And Valentina had the trilogy with Alexa Grasso. She wins the third one, gets her belt back, then defends against Manon Fiorot, where she was an underdog again. She was an underdog to Alexa Grasso, an underdog to Manon Fiorot, both very slight underdogs. Zhang Weili was the underdog to Tatiana Suarez in her last fight, but got it done very convincingly. Now moving up a weight class, I'm interested to hear your take on this one. Weezy, what you got?
Yeah, you know, so like my initial thought was that I would be backing Shevchenko here. She's bigger. She's fought at 135, been competitive with a monster like Amanda Nunes, 2 different fights many years ago.
Yeah.
But Valentina, you know, is 37 years old. She's been a professional fighter, mixed martial artist for 22 years. That's longer than a lot of people have been alive. You know, she took her first professional MMA fight at the age of 15. So
yeah,
Valentina's like she's still, you know, at 37 years of age, not close to being washed up, but she's fucking getting there, you know? Yeah. And when you look at the levels that these two are fighting at, you know, you got Shevchenko fighting really close with Tyler Santos, with Grasso a couple of times. The Fiorot fight was very close. While you look at Weili Zhang's last 5 fights, she destroyed Tatiana Suarez. She destroyed Yan Xiaonan, submitted her, knocked her out, and won by decision. Amanda Lemos just beat 7 shades of shit out of her, 4 out of 5 rounds. Carla Esparza puts her in a crucifix and chokes her out. Ends Joanna Jędrzejczyk's career. That was brutal. 2nd round KO from ground and pound. Remember that?
Yeah.
And here's the thing, right? We've seen a lot of fighters move up from 115 to 125. It's not a big deal. Grasso did it and became champion. Mm-hmm. You know, we've seen even Tatiana Suarez has fought up at 125. We've seen Jessica Andrade get wins at 135, 125, and 115. We've seen fighters make that, even Rose Namajunas. Rose moves up, has a 3-round fight with Manfiro, and it was 50-50. Yeah. So I'm not worried about the physicality here. This is really simple for me. Valentina's a phenomenal, well-rounded, technically strong fighter everywhere the fight goes, but she's not particularly dangerous anywhere. She's a minute winner. Weili Zhang is like a science experiment, and she's fucking running through the entire division. She cleaned out the division. This was the only move for her. There were no fights left for her at 115.
Yeah. She gonna fight Mackenzie Dern? You know?
Yeah. I mean, we know how that goes. Mackenzie can't take her down, and Weili's gonna punch mud holes through her face. So she has to move up here. And I'm willing to take the chance that I'm gonna bet her at plus money here, because I think she's the more dominant fighter right now. Mm-hmm. You know, she's showing it in her in-cage performances. And I think the only reason that people think that Valentina's going to make this look easy is because she's a 125er and Weili's a 115er. We've seen too many fighters make that move up from 115 to 125 for us to actually doubt that Weili Zhang's going to be the one that doesn't pull it off, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I feel like this is Weili. Weili decision, Weili money line plus 110. I'm going to be backing her this week. But I get all the arguments for the Shevchenko side. It's going to be a great fight.
Yeah, I like Weili here as well. As the underdog, plus 115. I played it. I think Weili, you know, they're both relatively similar in age, but I think Weili's way more in her prime than Valentina. You know, there was the point where Valentina was on that run of winning every single time.
Yeah.
Where we could start to see some of a decline when she fought Taila Santos and went to that close fight, and then she fought Alexa Grasso, and not a lot of people were giving Grasso much of a chance to win there.
Yeah.
Because they thought it would be somebody like an Aaron Blanchfield to come in and take over. But Grasso got it done with the rear naked choke. And then in the rematch, everyone was like, okay, Valentina's going to come in here and win again. Like, or win and get her belt back because that was a fluke. Well, what happened? It was a close fight.
Yeah.
And it probably should have gone to Valentina. You know, the 10-8 in round 5 was bogus. But you look at that round 5, like, Grasso kind of did the same thing that she did when she won the fight. She got her down, got her back, and was ground and pounding away. And one judge gave her a 10-8 for that. And then in the trilogy, everyone's like, oh, Valentina's washed. Grasso's going to win this one convincingly. Valentina's the underdog. She just goes in there and wrestles and lays in her guard for 5 rounds. Like, okay, that you probably could have done that whenever you wanted to, but chose to do it this time because you needed to get the win. But it didn't really show me like any evolution to her game. Kind of just showed me she went in that fight with one thing on her mind and get the takedowns and lay in her guard and win by any means. And then she fights Manfiro, and it's like, okay, this is the girl to beat her. Manon's huge for the weight class. She's a good striker, really good takedown defense. But it was kind of just a classic Valentina Shevchenko fight of like not a lot happening, very little moments, tough fight to score. Could have went either way.
Yeah. And
she won, but it wasn't like some domination. It wasn't like a y'all must have forgot type of performance. Now Weili is like an insane athlete for a woman. You know, she's just an insane athlete. She's running through these girls at 115. I don't think she's going to have any problems at 125. I think Weili's a good minute winner as well. I think Weili's the better grappler of the two. You know, Valentina has some decent takedowns with like the body lock trip, get on top of you. If she gets to the crucifix, she's usually pretty good there on top. But other than that, she doesn't really have, you know, like a deep submission package. She's not great in scrambles. She's not going to take your back. It's kind of just takedowns and hold you. Is she going to hold Weili on the ground? I doubt it. Probably not for long periods of time. But if Weili gets Valentina down, Weili has some nasty ground and pound. Weili has really good back takes. I mean, the way that she choked out Carlos Esparza made it look like Carlos Esparza's never grappled before. When she's one of the best grapplers at 115, she put Amanda Lemos through hell on the ground. She put Yan Xiaonan out twice. with the submission and the ground and pound. And then she faces the best grappler 115 has ever seen it, Tatiana Suarez, past her prime, but completely fucks her up the entire fight. So I think Weili comes in here. She should be able to handle Valentina in the striking. I do think Weili can get a little bit reckless at times, and Valentina might catch her with like a left hand down the pipe, sit her down. I don't really love Weili's like striking defense, but I think she recovers well. I think she's got good cardio, and I think Weili is probably going to use her offensive grappling here to kind of separate. So I like Weili as the underdog. I also don't mind a shot on Weili by submission, plus 900 odds. The back takes, the ground and pound on the ground is nasty. I've never seen a women's MMA fighter have that good a ground and pound. Like it is bad. She put what she set a record for significant strikes landed against Amanda Lemos. Most of those were ground strikes. Brutalized Yan Shannon on the ground. Valentina does not do well when you're on her back or when she's in bottom position. So, because she's never really there. She's never really there. It's a pretty foreign thing. So, Weili for me. Zhang Gang. Let's get it done this Saturday. 2-division champion. China stand up. Let's fucking go. Olajuwon. Weili just a better wrestler in 115 and maybe even 125 as Suarez moved up. Suarez is washed. I will give you that. But we didn't really know that before going into that fight. Past her physical prime for sure. But yeah, I mean, Tatiana could still wrestle. You know, like she's not athletically in her prime, but she still knows how to wrestle. Don't look into it too much. The bigger fighter will win. 10 pounds is a big difference in women's MMA. The natural weight fighter will win. Oh, well, you better be saying that about JDM then in the main event, if that's your case. That's 15-pound difference.
Yeah.
We've seen it all the time, man. If fighters go up a weight class, they're fine, dude. Like, most of these fighters are cutting an insane amount of weight to gain an advantage down a weight class.
Exactly. And they don't realize until they move up how much better they can perform on fight day because they're not, like, literally almost killing themselves.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, how many times have you heard of fighters after a fight is over be like, oh, I had food poisoning. Oh, I was throwing up. You know, I couldn't keep. You didn't get sick. Your body is telling you, hey, we need fucking water. You know, like your body is shutting down. That's what's happening. It's not like you got food poisoning or you got a virus. Your body's just as weak as it could possibly be. So a lot of times moving up, you're going to see better performances on fight day. And if you get a better performance from Weili Zhang, that's going to be scary.
Yeah. You know who always says that? Fucking Joe Pyfer. He's always saying after the fight, oh, I felt like shit. I just couldn't get going. It's like, yeah, you probably cut 40 fucking pounds to make middleweight, dude. Like,
yeah,
you're fucking huge for the weight class. And that's the tough part about middleweight and light heavyweight. It's 20 pounds. So, I mean, it does make a difference, man. It does make a difference. And Weili, who said it here? Olajuwon. She's lifting up fucking Francis and Shaq.
Yeah.
As a 5'3" woman. Like, she is built different, man. She's been on the sauce the Chinese gave her since she was out the womb. Or maybe still in the womb. Who knows? But let's fucking go, Weili. Get it done. All right. Let's go to the main event. Please hit the like button for me if you haven't already. It's a banger of a fight. JDM coming in here off the win to Bilal Muhammad as an underdog. He steps in as an underdog once again to Islam Makhachev, the number 2 pound-for-pound fighter in the world, moving up a weight class to 170, trying to become a 2-division champion. Islam coming off the submission win in round 1 to Renato Moicano in January on 24 hours notice. He steps up here against JDM. And I think this is going to be a very interesting fight because there's so many different aspects. And I've really had a tough time coming to a clear conclusion because I watch tape on both of these guys and I see some issues from both guys. You know, I think JDM in a lot of his fights is scrambling through these positions on the ground, whether it's against Gilbert Burns, against Basil Hafez, against Angelosa, against Ramazan Ameev, where he's kind of having to fight through these submissions or get out of these positions where I feel like Islam's probably going to take advantage of those positions, whether it's finishing the fight or putting him into a worse position scrambling through his positions, giving up his neck. Guy jumps on a darce. Islam has a great darce, or just creating a scramble where it doesn't work out and he's in a worse position. So that's what I don't like with JDM. But then I watch Islam, and Islam's good, man. He's very good. Probably one of the best fighters of all time, in my opinion. But he has faced a lot of fighters that are stepping in on short notice. Dan Hooker, short notice. Bobby Green, short notice. Volk the second time, short notice. Moicano, Moicano the only time, short notice. And then you look at his other fights. Charles Oliveira, full camp. Submitted him in round 2. That didn't look like the Charles Oliveira that I know, but I'll give him that. Volkanovski, the first fight, full camp for Volk. Took him 5 rounds. Arguably beat him. I don't think he beat him, but gave him a good fight. And Volk is a featherweight. And then fought the 35 or 36-year-old Dustin Poirier on a full camp. Poirier took him into round 5. Got submitted in round 5. But Poirier also went into that fight with a broken rib, tore his ACL in the fight, broke his nose in the fight. And Poirier has always lost to guys that can submit him. Khabib, Charles, he's always losing to these guys. So there's some issues on the Makhachev side that I've seen that I've always felt like somebody can take advantage of these. And I feel like that guy is Jack Della Maddalena. But the problem is Jack Della Maddalena also has some problems that somebody like a Islam Makhachev can take advantage of. So it's a very tough fight for me to figure out. The line being where it's at, where Jack Della Maddalena is plus 210, it is enticing for me to take a shot on JDM at plus 210, because if he's able to get through these positions and stay safe, I think he's got insane cardio, insane pace, a great will to win. And that's going to be, tough for Islam to deal with. But the problem that I also see is he makes one mistake, the fight's over, or he's trying to stay safe on the ground, and Islam's able to rack up minutes on the ground with his back take, with his top time. So it's a tough fight for me, man. It's a tough fight. I think I did pick Islam to win, kind of a bitch move, but I did it anyway, because I do think he's one of the best fighters of all time. But I'm really hoping Jack wins. I got the future on Jack to be the champion at the end of 2025. So hopefully that cashes. But what do you think here, Weezy? Maybe you got a stronger take than me. I just see a side for both guys in this one. I think it's very valid. What do you got?
Yeah, I mean, no matter who you're picking, you probably got a really good argument for who you're picking. If you're picking Jack, he's the better striker. He's the natural 170er, and there's less questions about how he's going to perform at this weight class. The conditioning is good. The volume is excellent, and that he's the better striker. But Islam's a very underrated striker in his own right. And the thing about Islam that always kind of bothered me was everybody compares him to Khabib, but he doesn't really fight like Khabib. Yeah. Khabib fought with relentless forward pressure, and he chained multiple takedowns together, and he unashamedly did that to get an advantage. And that was just how he fought. But Islam is not a chain wrestler. He's not a guy that's going to relentlessly pressure forward. And he, in my opinion, doesn't wrestle enough. I'd like to see Islam wrestle even more, because he gets his takedowns at a 53% clip. He wins 84% of the control time positions in his fights, and he's got phenomenal defensive wrestling. So he can use that wrestling to control the pace of his fights and dominantly win minutes by shutting down his opponent's ability to score points against him. But I always felt like that him being at 155 and having that gnarly weight cut is what prevented him from fighting like Khabib, And I wonder now if, now that he's up at 170, he can actually start pressuring forward. He can actually start shooting 12 to 13 takedowns per 15 minutes instead of just 6. If he can drown his opponents in that grappling game where he's just so good at it. you know, and he can re-wrestle anytime that you get back up. He can just re-wrestle again. And his technique is so good. His ability to turn the corner is so good. And he can get high crotches, single legs, double legs, trips, throws. He does it all. And once he gets you to the mat, he is so live to submit you. His Darush choke is fucking deadly. He locks that thing in, it is over. And we also know that he can get to your back and finish you with the rear naked choke. He caused Oliveira to tap from that arm triangle in like less than 5 seconds. This guy's got a crazy squeeze. He's got elite wrestling. And potentially up at 170 pounds, he can fight at a much higher pace than we're used to seeing him fight. And I think if he fights with that pace, dude, I don't think anyone's going to beat him.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, like, I kind of feel like I get all the arguments for why Jack can win this fight, but this is a levels fight on the ground. And I just think that Islam is a much better striker than Jack is a grappler. I think there's massive differences here in the grappling. And I think people are making Jack Della Maddalena's striking advantage out to be bigger than what it is. So I like Islam here, and I think he's probably going to find a submission or a ground and pound and finish this one inside the distance.
Yeah, I mean, one of the big reasons why I like JDM against Bilal was Bilal can't finish you on the ground. So, I mean, as many times as he wants to take you down, he can just scramble back up and not have to worry, but not the case with Islam. So that's what makes me hesitant to think JDM gets this one done. But looking at the props, Islam by sub right now is plus 175. Ooh, plus 175.
Not bad.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably the way he gets it done. But if it goes to decision, I kind of feel like JDM's probably giving him a fight.
Yeah.
So I mean, if it goes to decision, JDM by decision at plus 650 is definitely intriguing. Because I think he's the way better boxer than Islam. That's the real fault that I've seen with Islam is he's a decent kickboxer, but you get into the pocket with him, not very good. And in the clinch as well.
That's why he's so low volume, and that's why he kicks a lot. He doesn't like to be in that pocket, dude, because he doesn't throw enough.
He doesn't.
He's going to get outworked by his opponent there. And every time Jack gets into the pocket, it's 2, 3, 4, 5 strikes coming at you. He's always putting combinations together in there. Islam likes to wait to counter, and he throws one.
And JDM can switch stances, which I like as well.
Yes, he can.
Yeah, he's just so fucking crisp with his boxing. It's beautiful to watch.
Yeah.
I don't think he knocks Islam out. So I mean, I kind of feel like the JDM decision at plus 650, I don't want to say it's his money line, but I want to say it's probably his most likely path, because he can't be overextending on shots. If he overextends on shots, there comes the takedown, So
and then you just got to think how hard it is to finish a guy, that's 16-1 in the UFC that absorbs 1.55 significant strikes per minute.
Right.
I mean, like, that's over a fucking 17 fight sample size where he's getting hit 1.5 times per minute. So you got 25 minutes in a fight. On average, you're going to hit this dude 37 times. You better hit him really fucking hard if you're going to get him out of there with 37 strikes. So he's just so, Islam is just such a master. I've always said that my definition of a dominant fighter is somebody that doesn't take damage. Because that's the easiest way to be dominant, is just to not ever let your opponent score points. And the easiest way to do that is to be a dominant wrestler.
Agreed. What's Makhachev? I could see it being like a 3-4-5 submission. Yeah, I don't know if it's gonna be right away. I think JDM's probably gonna be keen to like some positions early. So maybe a 3-4-5 submission for Islam. I was debating playing like the over 3.5, which is around minus 135, or just play the fight to go the distance if JDM can stay safe in those positions. But I think it might just be a pass for me. You know, I got the future on JDM and probably just ride that out and hope it cashes. Who knows? Maybe, yeah, I was kind of debating throwing so it's $100 to win 2250. Just throwing like a grand on Islam sub at plus 175. So I can get like some upside if Makhachev finishes him. But if not, I could lose both at the end of the day. Then I'm down 1,100, but whatever. Just talking through it. But this has been a great live, Wheezy.
Hell
We'll hit these chats before we hop out of here. Worried about Jack pressuring heavy against the cage and getting taken down in the center. Yeah, I agree with that. Dan, what's going on, brother? Make sure you smash the like button for me. Appreciate that. And wish me a happy B-Day. Appreciate that, brother. Islam gasses late JDM round 5. I don't know if he's going to gas up a weight class. I mean, if we remember, the reason why he gassed so bad against Volkanovski was because they didn't have as much time to rehydrate. I think they weighed in, and there was only like about 24 hours between the time he weighed in to when he fought. Am I remembering that correctly?
Yeah, the rules are different in Australia.
Yeah, it was Australia. You're right. And there was the whole like IV gate that he got an IV.
They had just stopped letting you use IVs, if I remember correctly. Like it might have been a new rule that was only like a month or two old, and Islam was cutting a ton of weight anyway. So it was like the first time that he didn't get to use one legally, and I think he used one anyway.
Islam comes out here like Hafez or Hamza versus DDP. Yeah, I mean, as much as I was so excited for Hamza versus DDP, I really hope that isn't what this fight turns out to be. I can't go through that again. JDM is worth the plus money. What would you put your last 5 units on? Wei Lee, bro. Give me Wei Lee. Happy birthday. I appreciate that, brother. It was yesterday, but thank you. Thank you.
Oh, dude, that's a badass birthday. 11/11.
Yeah.
11/11. That's the magician's number, man. That's a strong birthday.
Yeah. Veterans Day every year. I can't get mad at birthday. And it's always a nice line. You know, you show your ID to the bartender, and they go, "Oh, 11/11."
Yeah.
And back in my day, if the bartender was hot, you'd be like, "Yeah, I'm your best wish." 11/11.
You're supposed to make a wish when you see that number.
Exactly. If you had to pick one safe parlay, what would it be? Safe parlay. Give me Eric McConico and Angela Hill.
Hill McConico, that can't miss.
Can't miss. Can't fucking miss. All right. Let's hop out of here, Wheezy. We're at 2 hours and 17 minutes in. I appreciate you for your time. We got your YouTube linked in the title and the description here on YouTube. So make sure you go check out Wheezy's YouTube. I believe you're going live shortly after this one. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm going to be going live for my Odds Shopper members. I do a full card breakdown every week called Balls Deep Breakdowns with Uncle Wheezy, Wednesday night, 9:15 Central Time, which is almost an hour from now. And I also go live every Wednesday or Thursday afternoon and do a Plus EV prop betting show. And those shows can be found on my Odds Shopper for $25 a month. You get access to my stats packages, my fight write-ups, my betting models, all the content that you don't see for free on YouTube every week, and all my track bets, access to the Discord, $25 a month. You can find me on Odds Shopper. That's the best way to support my work. And yeah, man, thanks for having me on. This was fun breaking down this card. I'm about to do it all over again for my subscribers. And I've got all these notes written out, so I'm going to read all of them. And yeah, looking forward to stacking cash tickets like flapjacks for this phenomenal UFC 322 card.
Let's fucking do it. Chat, make sure you go check them out. Show them some love. 2 hours and 20 minutes is it's not for free. All right. So go show your love to Uncle Wheezy, one of the best in the game, one of the good guys, and make sure you check out all of his stuff. But appreciate y'all in the chat. We'll be back here very soon with some more content. Gonna be a good week. Can't wait for it. UFC 322 is on the horizon. Let's go, boys. Let's go. Peace.